Wrong. We're live and you've not done the countdown.
This is annoying. So regular viewers of the channel, I'll tell you what, I need to grab a glass. So 3, 2, 1.
Amateur hour, honestly.
Oh, that is genuinely the most exercise I've done in a long time. Sprinting downstairs to grab a glass. How are you, mate?
I'm quite well, sir. How are you?
Oh, better now. Better I'm having a beer. I've had a quite stressful week, actually. So, yeah, better to be on here having a beer with you, mate.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've had a busy week. Busy old week. So, yes, much looking forward to cracking in to these beers. I'd say that like I've not had a beer all week. I have for review purposes, but I've not sat back and just enjoyed a beer. So
no, I'm the same. I had a little look. I'm genuinely out of breath. That's how unfit I am nowadays. I've literally run down the stairs, grabbed 2 glasses, and I'm puffing. God, my life's a mess. Yeah, I same as you, mate. I haven't really enjoyed a beer since the last time we were live, actually, which was last week. So.
Of course, on John's channel. Well, I enjoyed some more that night because, as you know, I went out after that stream.
Did you?
Did.
I bet that got a bit messy, didn't it?
You know what? It's quite well behaved.
Okay.
Well, I mean, relative terms. Nothing bad happened. That's all I can say. Didn't write my weekend. It was all right.
Go on, sorry.
I said I didn't write my weekend off, so it was all right.
Well, that's good. That's good. I've got to be a little bit careful tonight because I've got to be in Birmingham tomorrow for 12:30. So I need to be a little bit careful. But knowing me, I probably won't be, and I'll be regretting all my decisions tomorrow morning at about 9 o'clock. Let's get some early comments. Matt Williams, straight in there. Come on, guys, I've started already. I know. And then you're 30 seconds long. I do apologise. I hope you are, Matt. Thanks for coming in.
That was at 3:30.
We've got a new guy. Who's this? The Crummy Beard. Never heard of him. Ban him, please, mods.
Got a nice beard.
Ethan. Yeah, he does. Ethan Griffiths, good to see you, mate. Happy Friday, lads. Happy Friday to you. Ethan, are you on the UK Craft Beer Forum on Facebook? Because I saw someone called Ethan Griffiths on there comment maybe about a week ago, and I was like, I won't be a stalker and say hello to you. But yeah, just let me know if it was you or not. I think it might have been. But yeah, so what's been going on this week in your world then, Tommy?
Work has been flat out, to be honest.
Yeah.
Constant. Anything particularly exciting? The only thing that is kind of looming that I'm thinking I don't know what I'm going to do yet is the big Nottingham Beer Festival next week. So I have also been having a lot of days off from reviewing. It's probably why I've not just sat and enjoyed a beer, actually. I'm kind of trying to work. I want to be excited. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Like, yes, this is. I don't want to drink a lot in the weeks before. So today will probably be an exception, mine, because it is Friday. But otherwise, yes.
I think you've probably set yourself up perfectly, because talking from personal experience with trying to get excited for that type of beer, I hadn't drunk pretty much anything hop forward for quite a while, but leading up to the London Craft Beer Festival. And when I was there, it was just a pleasure to get back into those pales, those IPAs, those big hop beers.
Yeah.
Just because I had maybe, I don't know, I think absence makes the heart grow fonder a little bit, especially with tastes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right. I've done almost nothing but German beer for the last month, 6 weeks, something like that. So there's been the odd one when I was out for a friend's birthday last week, stuff like that. But I've not done any new or interesting craft or UK trad cask, which there is a lot of at the Nottingham Beer Festival. So I am looking forward to it. For that reason alone, really. I think as soon as we start getting, and also, you're getting the best of the best at that point. A lot of local breweries use it as a big showcase.
Yeah, it's a bit of a launch event, isn't it? I know we talked in the week. I think Blue Monkey are launching a new stout there, and yeah, you do tend to find these. I mean, it's a big event, isn't it? The Nottingham Craft Beer Festival, from what I've seen online, and I'd imagine, yeah, like you say, I imagine there's going to be a lot of launches and special releases there. This
yeah, I think so. I know that there's a couple of breweries who previously took big stands there and aren't this year. Be interesting to see who fills those places, if any. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much I'm meant to know, so I'm being careful here. But I don't want to get anyone in trouble. But yes, there's going to be. But Blue Monkey, obviously, everyone know that I've gone about them too much, and I will be doing very much so next week. I think I've purposely not covered them on the channel for about 2 months, so that next week you don't all get immediately bored, because they've got several specials going to the beer festival, so that should be pretty good.
Nice. Have you got any plans for filming there, mate? Are you going to sort of?
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to debate. What to do? I could just film like I did last year, just document the beers that I'm having and that stuff. If I don't come up with a better idea, that is what it will be. I'd like to do something different, but at the same time, unless that idea comes to the fore, I don't.
It's got to be the biggest beer festival in the Midlands, isn't it?
Oh yeah, easily.
So you probably get a lot. Sorry, everyone. It's probably a private conversation. You probably get a lot of people be interested in like a walk around tour. Then you've got like you could snag a couple of brewers when you're there. Are you doing the trade day on Wednesday? Yeah. So lots of opportunities to film, mate. I reckon.
I think so.
The Spencer Arms, how you doing, Spenno? Good to see you, mate. Me and you talk a lot on YouTube nowadays. Top bloke. Yeah, it's Friday. Thank God I finished work. What did you do for work, Spenno? I see you on the scaffolding earlier on Instagram. Coming to you live from the bath, you dirty bugger. It's not past 10 o'clock yet, mate. Cheers, all Spenno. Good to see you, mate. Tom and Stu from the Lager Logs. Happy Friday, boys. Happy Friday to you, good sir. Ethan Griffiths says, I'm part of it, and I do leave the odd post / comment on there. Yeah. I thought I can't imagine there's many people called Ethan Griffiths. So yeah, I sort of saw you and I thought, I wonder if it is. Here's a name I haven't seen in a little while. Trilby Phil, how you doing, my man? Hope things are well. Hope you're doing well. Hope family are good, mate. Thanks for coming in. Well, I bet probably
as well. How was the Trilby? Because the Trilby is a separate entity, of course.
It kind of is. It should be really Trilby and Phil, shouldn't it?
It should, yes.
What have you gone for? So are you on the Paulaner Oktoberfest?
I'm still wading my way through my Oktoberfest beers because I got very excited. A lot of them. And of course, I don't want to. I've done well to avoid getting excited about cask and craft in the last month, so I'm going to continue that until next week. I think but we'll be continuing the German bandwagon a little bit further.
Do it. I am totally at a loss of where my 2 bottle openers have gone. Oh, there we go. 3. Oh no! Oh, forgot I had this one. I bought it from Pegasus Bridge. If anyone knows the Second World War, D-Day invasion.
It's a nice bottle opener and a beer mat by the look of it.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. It's a bit. Oh, you know what? I didn't even think of it being a beer mat. There you go. Because I'm just an idiot. I'm sticking to the German theme, but I've gone a bit of a different route this week.
Go on.
I popped into Adnams, namely, that's not namely for this. I popped into Adnams for some beer for tonight because I thought I haven't had Adnams beer in a little while. I've got an Adnams shop in my town, and sometimes they might surprise you with something that's on the shelf. And they've surprised me with this, which was only released yesterday, an Adnams and Verdant collab.
Evening Gleams, American Red Rye IPA, 4.2%. Interesting, and this is I suspect I'll see a bit of this next week. Actually, it'd be worth talking about. I think we mentioned it a while back. There seemed to be a little bit of a pattern of very modern brewers doing collabs with more trad regional brewers.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
And Adnams are like bang up there for that. I mean, when you think who they've brewed with in the past, I mean, Sierra Nevada, Toast. I think they've brewed with Cloudwater in the past. There's going to be another beer that basically Verdant. Actually, I don't know how much I'm a bit like.
Yeah, you get yourself stuck. Don't get yourself stuck in a thing you're not meant to say.
There's going to be something else from Verdant.
Yeah.
soon.
Okay.
That's So yeah, I don't know how much. Yeah, it was all seemed a bit secret squirrel when he was telling me today, but yeah, Adnams are definitely up for it. And talking of Adnams, this Benedictina, not necessarily anywhere near my favourite German brewery, if I'm honest, the Benedictina, but I do find their hell quite drinkable.
I don't think I've had anything from them at all.
And Adnams are a stockist or an importer, an exporter of Benedictina, as well as Bitburger, who I think Bitburger own these guys, and I believe,
Right.
correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Bitburger own Benedictina and Bitburger own Kostritzer. So you might have seen a bit of Kostritzer. They're normally known for their dark lager. And because Adnams are an importer for Bitburger, they get these other brands as well. So it's quite cool that I can just go into my local shop in my town and pick up some of this.
That's one thing I've never even thought. Who owns Bitburger? It must be.
They might be their own entity.
They might be. They are. They're big if they are.
And I believe Bitburger are also involved with the shoot. But let's get some comments whilst Dictionary Corner's not here filling her duties. She's at work earning the money. Tom has to be his own Dictionary Corner. Tom and Stu, has anyone ordered a Christmas beer calendar yet? You know what? I was chatting on the phone today with Simon from Real Ale Craft Beer, and I talked about this, asked him the question. I was like, what are you thinking of doing? And he was like, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Normally, I've seen a few of the Facebook ads now. I don't know if you've been hit with them recently, Tom, the old Christmas box ads on Facebook.
I don't really use Facebook, and so no, I haven't. But I'm sure it won't be long. I know that I'm sure I got an email from everyone's favourite Scottish brewery, who shall not be named, about 4 weeks ago, saying you could order one.
No.
No thanks.
I was going to order Brewers 12 brews at Christmas, but it's 6 beers for 35 quid. Yeah, that's quite keen money, that. I mean, I was saying that I ordered the Trembling Madness mixed advent calendar last year, and I think from memory that was about 130 quid.
Yeah,
which sounds expensive, and to be fair, it obviously is a lot of money, especially for an advent calendar. But some of the beers in there were like world class.
Some of them were. You weren't too keen on it after the first 5 days, though, were you?
No, because they chucked a sour at me from Funky Fluid and someone else, and that was rank. It was like a lemon meringue pie thing. It was rubbish. And then they chucked at me. It was a Alpha Delta collab beer with who's the guys that brew with marijuana?
What
are they called?
I know you mean. I can't remember what they're called now.
Oh, what are they called?
The CBD people.
The CBD people. And yeah, one of the beers was that sour, and the other beer was a CBD IPA, which genuinely tasted like the smell of wet football socks. It was absolutely disgusting. But then it picked up because there was a couple of beers from Pentrick, and they were the first Pentrick beers that I can remember having, and they were like astounding, like really, really good.
They are good.
Yeah, it was a bit of a journey, actually. It sort of took me well out of my comfort zone, and I mean, there was some fantastic sours in there as well. So yeah, there was out of my comfort zone, but I'd recommend that if anyone's got. And I appreciate it's expensive, and that was actually my birthday present from my wife to myself. But yeah, if you've got a couple of quid and you fancy sort of going out a little bit on it, I'd recommend that one. The Trilby is better than me. When it's first, it used to, it's not Phil with the Trilby on, it's Trilby Phil. The Trilby owns you, Phil. Simo, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. Evening, gents. Evening to you, good sir. First loss last weekend, wasn't it? For you boys, Simo, Man City. Oi, Simo, lad. All right, Trilby. Spenno says, I'm a carpenter and joiner. However, I've moved into commercial aluminium, curtain walling, windows, doors, etc. It's hard work, but rewarding seeing a huge wall of glass. Fair play. My mate does that. Does quite all right out of it, actually. So, yeah, fair play to you, mate. Old school city and guild carpenter taught by the old boys. There you go. With a mallet and an old chisel. Sharper than a Gillette razor. Thomas, how you doing? Hello, great people and hair Phil. Hair Phil? Klaus Heitman. Hello, mate. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. Thank you coming in for a bit of nugget of information. Bitburger is independent, but a giant in Germany.
Yeah, I had found it, and then I saw Klaus's comment. I thought I'll let him take the
mate. Hello.
Thanks for coming in, Klaus. He probably found it before I did. But yeah, they are apparently owned by themselves, which is nice.
Klaus, do you know if they own Benedictina? I think it might be all part of one deal. So there's a big brewery over here called Adnams, if you're not familiar with the British beer scene. Big regional brewer, very traditional brewer. And I think they supplement their range with a lot of the German stuff, like the German lagers. Simo says, there's a decent German calendar that goes into Costco Moses. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking about that one. I'm not going to lie. Ooh. But then I think after a year of literally exclusively drinking German beer,
yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll see what's in it. I might buy it.
But I mean, that little box. And sorry to reopen the wound on this little box thing.
What
was it? There were 10 beers in there.
There were 10 beers. Yeah,
I'd say there were probably 6 that I thought, okay, this is pretty damn good. And that includes the Schneider Weiss and the Hofbrau. And there were 4 that were like 4.5%, 4.8%. That weren't even defined as fest beers, and I was like, not really bothered. So I'd be interested to see which brewers are in that box, if it's possible to find out. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not going to say any more about the little box, otherwise everyone's going to start shouting at me and calling me an idiot.
I'm not allowed an opinion on that anymore. Apparently.
No, you're not. You're not qualified. Simo Sup says Canabrew. That is the one. Canabrew. I think their logo is literally a marijuana leaf in a circle, from what I can remember. Sharky's in. Cheers. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for coming in. Happy Friday to you. I know you've got a bit of time at work. What's the time there? Probably midday? No, you're California. It's going to be like 10 o'clock.
So, quarter past 9, mate.
Woo! My God. I'm having a beer. But yeah, I hope you're well, Sharky. Luke John, hey up. Hello, Luke. We had a little chat on Instagram the other day. Great to hear you're on the mend, mate. I'm rooting for you, mate. I really am.
Nice.
Sharky says hello to Luke, and Luke says hello to Sharky, and we have caught up. Everyone's been asking me, and I've got to say this because Tom's been heavily involved with this. Not a lot of people would know, but we are. There's going to be a video on it. We have got a name for the horse box that we've nailed down, that I filmed the video of. We have designs. Everything's good. We've got a wedding fair next weekend. And we're doing like that mad rush thing where you think, why didn't I just do this 3 months ago? Getting everything sorted. And Tom's really, really giving us a hand.
Well, I'd just like to say, when that video comes out, if you don't like the branding on it, it was all Mark's idea. And if you do like the branding on it, then it was all me.
It's true. Yeah. So we've got a wedding fair. We've actually got a booking. We've got another booking that's now going to be a Christmas winter sort of market thing, which is going to be pretty cool. Somewhere in Norfolk. Yeah, it's going. Like, this thing's going. We've ordered a load of stuff off Amazon, all the decoration bits. The horse box is on the go. So yeah, that's been a part of the reason why it's been a stressful week. The mantra of measure twice, cut once has firmly gone out the window. It's just a case of getting it done now. Simo says, I remember John having a couple of the
It was a type of Canabrew.
Canabrew beers and Paul Stream, and they sent him west.
Yeah, to be fair, though, we've seen John go west off a couple of Bud Lights, so I wouldn't say that as too...
For a man that owns a brewery, his alcohol tolerance is rubbish. He makes me look like George Best, and I'm not the best in the world either. Do you know what I mean?
We've seen you try and eat a pint of Pringles, so yeah.
A pint of Pringles. Hey up, we've got another sexy bald man in here.
Oh,
it's Chris. How you doing, mate?
Look at that.
Yeah, good, mate. Better have this in my hand now.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. You had a good day?
Yeah, all good, mate. Yours?
Yeah, it's been pretty hectic. I think it's about the first time I've stopped today, other than replying to our messages that we always put in the chat. But yeah, other than that, it's been a very busy day, and now very much looking forward to a beer.
What you got there, mate? Spartan?
Yeah, I've got the standard Spartan. but in the perfect draft, I'm just waiting for it to come down another couple of degrees. I've got the Spartan Oktoberfest.
Can I be controversial?
Yeah, go on.
For the style, I think that Munich Hell is better. For the style, then I think that Munich Hell is better than the Spartan Oktoberfest beer.
There's nothing controversial about that. Everyone's entitled to an opinion, aren't they?
No, I know. It's just I had that Spartan Munich the other day, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is actually blooming good." I didn't appreciate it last year. I don't think.
I was still hit and miss on it this year.
The problem Munich with the Oktoberfest,
both, but the Munich as well. I think the problem with it is the only time it's easily available here is the same time of year you've drank all of the top tier Oktoberfest beers.
That's the problem.
And then as a result, it starts to look a bit weak. I think any other time of the year it would probably stand up very well. But interestingly, I have got one of each left. So, Chris, when you get into that Oktoberfest version, I might crack the bottle and have one with you. I know it'd be a bit different, but
yeah,
interested to see how it stacks up a second time round.
That's an interesting take, Tommy, because this year I haven't had many of the proper Oktoberfest beers. I've obviously had the little box ones. And this year the Munich really shone for me. So I wonder if I was a bit Oktoberfested out by the time I got the Munich beer.
Yeah.
Because it came out, it feels like it came out a bit later than last year. Into
Lidl. Yeah, I reckon it was definitely into October before Aldi dropped.
Yeah, that's right. So I think maybe I was just Oktoberfested out a little bit on lager.
Yeah,
I think that's quite possible, isn't it, to get fested out? Because there can be so many that you can get so carried away, and before you know it, you just think, I've had too many of these over the period of a month, and they all start not tasting the same, but you've just got so used to that style that nothing then, and you have another Oktoberfest on top from a different brewery. Just generally doesn't taste much different.
And your tongue will get used to that, like 6.1% rich malt bill, slightly more punchy hop thing, and then all of a sudden you drop down a whole percentage point to a more of a traditional beer, and then it probably goes. A lot of the qualities are missing, maybe. Where did we get to on the comments? We got to
one from the screen.
Oh, bloody hell! It's been that kind of week. Trust me. Sharky, Mark, I will have a beer when you're asleep later on. Lol. Yeah. Well, doesn't count. Luke John Frost says Sharky is an early morning Friday drinker. When Sharky goes live, it's like I literally get into bed at like midnight, and Sharky will go live. I'm like, I want to watch this, but I'm knackered. And every so often, Sophie, my daughter, will wake us up at like 4 a.m. I'll catch the end of Sharky's stream where he's had too many beers. Simo says, flying fudge sauce. Autocorrect. Yeah. Canterbury. It's true. Sharky says, Luke John, I'm drinking Beerman's 10.4% ABV triple Nipah tonight. Oh my God. That's going to be worth a watch. Are you doing that live, mate?
That's a beastie, isn't it?
I'll have to record that. Luke John says, cool, Sharky. I have a 9.4% 18-month Imperial Stout to drink, or a 15.3% IPA. They are going to be that 15.3%. Is that the Tartarus one?
That's beefy,
isn't it? I really turn off at like 10%. You know, it's like I just go, I don't really care.
Yeah.
This is probably a very bad thing to say as someone who's trying to tell everyone about interesting beer. But as soon as we breach 10%, I'm like, I think I'd rather drink wine.
Yeah.
I kind of get what you mean. There are some beers that when they go over 10%, it's not a particularly pleasant experience. But
it's not that they're all bad, because there are some absolute gems. But the problem is most of the ones I've tried, it's kind of 10% or were worth the ridiculous ABV, and the rest no.
I find IPAs above probably 10%. The best 10% beer I've ever had IPA was a burnt mill beer called Tree of Life, and it was a triple IPA, and it was like probably it was like a really enjoyable drinking experience, because I don't find triple IPAs very enjoyable because I find them quite spiky in flavour. It's almost like I don't know, they're not enjoyable. It's sort of a bit of a thing to get through a little bit to me. But if that was a stout at that percentage, I'm sticking Louis Theroux on in the dark on my own once my wife and child have gone to bed. and I'm watching Louis Theroux documentaries. That's kind of what I do with strong stouts. It's weird, I know. It's weird.
No, I get it. I do it with films as well. The other problem I have is as soon as you get to that point, you're going, I don't want to drink a lot of volume, so I'm going to drink one thing that's a bit punchier. I'm immediately drawn to my whiskey selection and not beer.
Well,
and it's like it just sits in that. I guess if you're not into that, then it's fine. I don't know. Anyway, each to their own. It doesn't do it for me, which is why I don't do a lot of more channel.
It's true. It's true. Each their own, I suppose. Sharky says, Luke John, thumbs up. Luke John says, if you're George Best, does that make Crummy Ronaldinho? Yeah, aside from the dreadlocks and big teeth, he's pretty much a match. Klaus Heitzman says, Bitburger Group owns Bitburger, Koenig, Kostritzer, and Licher. The Licher Brewery owns and brews the Benedictina. There we go. So
there you go.
I was kind of guessing a little bit earlier about the Adnams link and these breweries, but it kind of made sense. It does ring true. Luke John Frost says, I'm not sure I can rock Chris with a beard, just saying. Well, I don't know.
The rock is, mate.
Rachel likes a beard, didn't she? Your missus?
Rachel? No,
yeah.
She's not keen. That's for sure.
Oh, I thought she liked it.
No. She's kind of getting used to it, but she's not keen. Most people say they like it. Very few people said they don't like it. I'm not convinced whether I really like it or not. I'm not convinced it will stay.
Well, I think you're sexy.
Well, thank you very much.
You got that distinguished look going on.
Yeah, he's kind of got that like. If you had glasses with the clear plastic rim, I'm trusting every word you say.
Oh, God. I do need some new glasses, so I'll try the clear rim.
Hey, there we go. Everyone likes a clear rim. Sharky says, after drinking a bunch of German Oktoberfest beers, I'm deciding if I will get some American Oktoberfest beers. Well, Americans do brew good lagers, and you've got quite a healthy malt industry in America. So if an American brewer can't brew a decent fest beer, I'd be shocked. Sierra Nevada, doesn't Sierra Nevada do a fest beer, guys? Have you seen that?
Yep.
On Instagram.
They do.
Yeah, I bet that's just absolutely out of this world. Luke John Frost says, totally different beers, Sharky. The German beers are just so good. Even the worst are better than 80% of the breweries. It's true. It is true. That is such a true statement, Luke John. And that's the thing in it. Sometimes, Crummy, you've just done the Oktoberfest beers, and Chris, you done one or two on your channel, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like when you're rating the Spartan at 3.5%, 3.5 out of 5, or whatever I rated it out, or 3 out of 5. It's all relative, isn't it? It's kind of all relative, and it's because they are all like fantastic beers. I mean, when you consider some of the crud you get in the UK supermarket or the UK, some of the UK lagers are just shocking. It's true. It's absolutely true.
Oh yeah, there's not one of the Oktoberfest beers that I wouldn't order immediately on tap if I walked in somewhere and saw it. There was 2 or 3 out of that little box I would actively avoid in favour of something else. But
I wouldn't disagree with that. There were definitely a couple in that little box that I wasn't keen on, but at the same time they weren't horrendous. They were just a bit meh.
To be fair,
that was it, wasn't it? There was no problem. Yeah. There was no off flavors. It was just like fest beers to me are like big hitting malt, big sweet caramel. All the things that you absolutely love that are just those really certainly the flavors that I can sort of really distinguish between a normal lager and a fest beer. A few of them just didn't get there, did they?
No, absolutely. I agree with that. There was definitely a couple that didn't hit the mark, but doesn't mean they were bad beers. They just you expect that box because of how it's labelled. You think fest beer, you think Oktoberfest, so you expect them to have that big type of feel, and there was just a couple that didn't, but it just didn't make them bad beers.
No, it's true, and it very much is a 21st. I had a chat with Crummy about this a couple of weeks ago. It's a 21st century problem, isn't it? Well, we've got this bunch of German beer in there. None of it's really, it's not all fantastic, and I'm really annoyed for £2.50 a bottle. It's like a 21st century problem.
But it did highlight something that was really interesting because you sit there and go, it was, or at least I did. I'm not going to put words in anyone else's mouth. Say some of this really isn't worth £2.50 a bottle. Yes, if you compare it to what we have to pay for just regular beer normally in the UK. Actually, it was still a good price. The problem is £2 a bottle for that.
Yes.
And that is just out of this world. So it's like, you know, you can only compare it like for like. And that is a like for like. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there, mate. I'm with you. I think that's why it was perfectly timed, actually, because I saw some of your comments on that first video you released were like kicking off. It was proper kicking off. And it was like, I don't know, other people made videos about your video, and obviously everyone's entitled to their opinion. It's fantastic. That's one of the best bits about YouTube and what we do. But it was like 2 days after your video, Aldi dropped the Paulaner Spartan thing. And it was like... Yeah. I'm not saying the beers are bad. Like, you never said the beers are bad. You just said you didn't know if it was value for money. And just right at the time, it was like all of a sudden you could buy beers at £2 a bottle that weren't tying you into a £25 commitment. You could go in and buy 3 if you wanted to for £6.
Yeah, I just don't think you can compare the little box to what was in Aldi in terms of, yeah, you're getting some great beers in Aldi for £2 a bottle, but you can only buy that one, or you can buy as many as you like. Whereas the little box was 10 different beers in a fantastic box with a decent book in it that gives you links to all sorts of others. So for me, they're two different entities. You can't compare the two.
No, it's true. It's YouTube though, Chris. Come on.
It is. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, look, if you're impressed by a cardboard box and a booklet, then okay, maybe it was worth it. I wasn't, so it wasn't. But
it's the overall experience, isn't it? It's the box. It's the look of the box. It's what comes in the box. It's 10 different beers from 10 small German brewers, apart from a couple that are in there. It's just a whole different experience to going into Aldi and buying 10 bottles of the same beer. So for me, you can't compare. But the great thing is, we're still bloody talking about it.
Yeah. Also,
again,
the great thing is we got to do both. We got to do both.
Yeah,
and that's the best bit. We got both options, which was
absolutely
nice.
Yeah. That's the main point, isn't it? You're absolutely right there, Tom. We got the best of both worlds, haven't we?
Absolutely. And you think about, you know, for a lot of people, I know the supermarket word is a dirty word in craft beer or in beer in general, but I look at it a different way. I think the supermarket is a gateway into beer. Like, I got into good craft beer through trying beers like Northern Monk Transient and Salt Huckabuck.
Yeah.
And the supermarket's been a bit of a barren place for beer for a little while now in terms of quality. I mean, even the releases, there hadn't been a good release for the best part of 6 to 9 months. Like a good, you know, like when you literally set your clock. 1st of March would come around, it'd all kick off, you know. Salt would come along with 2 or 3, Northern Monk 4 or 5. Do you know what I mean? And across all the supermarkets, it was mental.
Yeah.
And we just hadn't had that for a little while. And it was literally breweries going head to head going, this is what we can do. And then in the next release, it kind of went like a competition. And then the industry went to a place where that couldn't happen anymore because of costs and everything, which I totally do understand. But it doesn't dilute the kind of consumer experience in the supermarket at that point.
Yeah.
And it had been a long time since we'd seen 2 supermarkets go properly head to head with fantastic quality beer. And we got fed it, you know, in not only in normal supermarkets, we got fed it in discount supermarkets, which is like even better because we've got, you know, some of the world's best beers. You know, that Hofbrau Oktoberfest is in my opinion, one of the best lagers I've ever tasted in my life. We got that in one box, and then the Paulaner this year was fantastic. We got that in the other supermarket. I don't know. It's a good time. It's been I don't know. It was just a nicely timed thing for the beer drinker.
Yeah, they did it. Ultimately, yeah. Let's have more of that from both of them. I think that's
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it shows what they can do.
Yeah.
And look at the hype. Look at the hype. Incredible. Let's go. Where are we?
You got a super chat, by the way.
I do. I was trying to grab it, but we were so deep in. I'm going to grab that in just a second. Luke John Frost says, the Tartarus 120-minute IPA. What's that going to be in reference to? The boil?
Yeah, got to be.
Got to be in it. Or the mash time, I don't know. FYI, the Spartan Oktoberfest beer here was a Marzen, a Medicine in a green bottle. Okay. Flooring, fine species. After looking into it further, it turns out to be a malt liquor. There we go. Luke John says, worryingly, I'm with Rachel. So either Luke John agrees with her or he's in your front. He's in your front room, Chris.
Well, apparently she's at work. Maybe not.
Luke John Frost says you've got the beer tuber look going on. It's kind of a thing to have a beard if you're going to be YouTubing, a bit like a beer YouTuber sort of thing.
I have no hair and a beard. That's the memo.
Well, I'm receding fast. I never receded faster until I started YouTube, and I think it's you guys are rubbing off on me. Spenno says the vape smoke through the green light looks cool.
He's a cool man. Look at him; he's distinguished.
Oh, look at that! Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to
be. Chris needs to up his game a little bit and get onto the cigar hype. The distinguishedness, the level of distinguish at that point. Or, Chris, may I recommend a velvet jacket and a pipe? Yes, I think there's a market for that.
That would be quite amusing. I haven't had a cigar for years. I can't remember the last time I had a cigar. In terms of a pipe, cool. I can't remember the last time I had a chug on someone. I mean, when did you last see someone smoking a pipe?
I couldn't tell you. But I want to see it again, is what I'm saying. So
my second ever pipes to me.
Oh, he's back.
Here he is. There he goes, back. Pipes to me are just remind me. My second ever job was waiting in waiting it's called, isn't it? Waiting on tables in my local village country pub back in Kent, and there was a bloke in that pub. And pipe smoke, like piping, is probably like the harshest way to consume tobacco, isn't it? I don't know if there's a stronger way to consume tobacco other than inject it straight into your blood.
I would imagine it's similar to cigars because they're both unfiltered. But
yeah, I don't know. I just remember like he used to do before the smoking ban. You do and all of a sudden you'd hear it before you see it. You'd hear that, and then all the smoke again. Yeah, and this guy, I can't ever remember his name, but he had his bottom fang missing and the one behind it. So his mouth used to go out like that. And he used to slot... Like honestly, he used to slot the pipe into the gap in between his teeth and shut his mouth. And it was like Thomas the Tank Engine sitting in the pub. So pipes to me, I just go back to that guy. He's probably passed away now. He was ancient when I was waiting on the tables, but yeah. But when I ever think of a pipe, I just think it's bloke, and it's just the way he just slot it in his teeth. He sit over his mouth shut, just pipe hanging on the floor. It's funny.
Matt Williams has just posted a comment saying he loves the smell of pipe tobacco, and that was I've never known anyone I've never been around a pipe smoker for any length of time, but years ago they did a paper round a long time ago. There was one house, this old guy used to deliver a paper to, and he definitely smoked a pipe. And it does have this like oddly sweet thing about it that's like, it's very different. Like, it's not the same as, like, you go to weddings and people have cigars and it's like, I get it a bit, but at the same time, not really bothered. But you know what I mean? Like, but that pipe tobacco smell is a distinct thing.
It's just really, I find it really woody, like really sort of like.
Well, it can be, but
woody.
If you get someone that's smoking cherry tobacco in a pipe, that
hello, I can get on board with that.
That's a glorious smell. So much so that there used to be a tobacconist near, not a million miles away from where I live, that used to sell tobacco, different flavoured tobaccos in huge like tubs. It was almost like going and buying sweets. You'd order a quarter of whatever tobacco you wanted.
Yeah.
So I used to buy the cherry tobacco and smoke it in roll-ups, and it was very, very nice. But I could get bored with that. It seemed to smell even better.
Probably very, very bad for you all at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
David Wilson says, hi all. Hello, David. Good, thanks for coming in, mate. There's another brewery in Berkshire doing bits. What is the name? Is it
doing bits?
Doing bits. Is it called Beyond Wild or something, David? It was on Simon's channel. It was on Simon's channel this week. Beyond Wilderness or something. I can't remember what they're called. And he really liked the beer. Luke John says, hi, Mr. Wilson. And the Super Chat Sharky for my overdue car park or buy another morning beer, mate. Thank you very much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate that. And that will get just rolled into buying some more beer for the channel. Klaus Heitzman says, I'm drinking a Hefeweizen, but not the Benedictina. Yeah, they do. They've got the Benedictina Hefeweizen in the Adnam store where I am. But it's not expensive in the Adnam store. I think this was like £1.99 a bottle, which I think is pretty good for a small German bit of a niche brewery thing. We do have the Hefeweizen, but I don't. Or they have the Weiss beer, but it's not for me. I'd probably rather pick up a Franciscana at that point, and I know it's going to make you angry. But homebrew with a late Amarillo hop edition. Hello. Let's call it a New England Weiss beer. Yeah, that works. Sharky, hello, David Wilson. David, and you paid more in a supermarket for beers, Mark, which were awful. Yeah. Supermarket beer now. I mean, Tiny Rebel 505, that New England IPA they've got, that's been £4.50 for the best part of a year.
Is it still that much?
Well, yeah. I don't know. You know what? With the price increases, it's probably going to go up. It's just like...
I was about to say to you, I don't know how to break this to you. I'm pretty sure Morrison's have it at a £5.
Shut the front door.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
505?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. If you're buying that, I think you need to look at your local brewery because your mind will be blown for the quality you'd get for that money.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Luke John Frost says, I didn't buy the little box, and to be frank, I'm not too fussed I missed out. I see that opinion, Luke. It was nice for what it was. It wasn't anything like absolutely mind blowing.
Do we call him Frank John Frost now?
Oh, did I say Frank? Where did I get Frank from?
No, he said I didn't buy the little box, and to be frank, so.
Hello. It's been a long week, Tom. You can't be tripping up at them people. You can't be putting them obstacles in front of me, mate. It's been a very long week. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of understand. Do you understand that sort of statement, boys? I know Chris won't.
No, completely. If I'd not got one and also had the information that I have now, having had one, I would not have been crying about the fact that I didn't get one. That one. There were some good beers in there. Let's just put it this way. I have not gone and tried to find any of those beers to buy after the fact.
No, of course not. I haven't either. But at the same time, I drink some great beers, as we all do. And it's rare that I go back and buy them again because there's always another beer to go and buy, isn't there?
It's true. It's always the next thing. And I think that's probably where we are with the beer world, isn't it? It's moved so fast. I mean, the past 4 years, Jesus. Everybody was brewing hoppy pales. Now everyone's trying to trip over themselves to brew Guinness and wheat beers. It's mental. It's just, how'd you get there? Matt Williams says, talking of supermarkets, I've just picked up the 2 new Brewed by Numbers beers from Tesco's. Anyone know if they are any good? I don't. And I imagine, actually, that they're going to be, those particular beers will have been brewed at the new site in Greenwich.
Yeah, I've got one of them. One's a porter. I'm sure the one I've got's a porter.
I know they've released a porter into Sainsbury's, but they do this Brewed by Numbers where they will exclusively put beers into certain supermarkets at certain times. So whether those new Tesco beers are something a little bit different,
I don't know. Maybe the one I've got from Sainsbury's. There's been big drops there. Sainsbury's, Tesco's, and Morrison's have all had a beer drop, haven't they? So I've got a bit confused, but.
Yeah, it's been good. It's weird, isn't it? Like you'd have thought the big beer drop would have been in the summer, but I suppose everyone's into their lagers, and maybe the supermarkets have sort of seen that.
Maybe because a lot of what's gone into the supermarkets now are stouts or porters.
Yeah, it's funny.
I've got a genuine question for the two of you and chat. Can anyone recommend a good craft stout or porter or other dark beer that is not flavoured with something specific right now, as in something relatively new?
Oh, what did I have in the New Forest? Not barrel aged. You don't want any other flavours, just a straight up stout.
Don't mind barrel aging a bit, but I'm interested. Is anyone actually bothering to just try and create something simple and good, or are we still in? Let's make, peanut butter pretzel sticky toffee imperial stouts because they sell, even though they just taste.
That does sound amazing, Tom. I don't think I've ever seen one of them before. I'll go for a wee and just think about that.
Not stout wise. No, last weekend, if you call it dark, it was darkish ale. a really nice ESB by a local brewery to me called Tring Brewery.
Yeah. Oh, Tring.
It was just a good quality extra special bitter, and that was absolutely stunning. I bought 2 litres of it because you can take growlers in there and or whatever. You can take a 2 litre empty Coke bottle in there if you want, and they'll fill it up for you.
Yeah.
And that was really good. That 2 litres easily got consumed in the evening, which wasn't my plan. It was that good. And that's what I like. I do like ESBs. I do like bitters. I do like well-made bitters.
Yeah, me too.
All day long. I'll take those over a adjunct-heavy stout.
Oh yeah,
all day long.
Yeah, for sure. Every day of the week.
And they're often like half the price, those beers, aren't they?
Well, they are. Yeah. To put 2 litres of that growler in, it really didn't cost a lot of money. It was very, very cheap. And the Tring Brewery are really trying to push that. They're trying to push a bit of being eco and a bit recycling. And they're saying, just bring any container you like in, and nearly every single beer we do will be available on tap for us to fill your growler
That's
at
good.
a much reduced price. They're a great little brewery. Really,
Is there a big sign outside that says "We'll fill your growler"?
Pretty much.
That was my Tinder profile before I met my missus.
Absolutely.
Why did your Tinder profile have the term "we" on it?
me and little Mark. Very little Mark.
Good job.
Very little Mark. Some would say minuscule Mark. In terms of like good straight up stouts,
There's some good recommendations in the comments, by the way.
I'll tell you what, if I skip back to those, can someone just remember Matt Williams' comment at 5:30? And we'll get these.
I think the first one, Matt Williams at 0544 is the start of that thread.
This one.
Yeah.
That's the
Everything
trouble.
after
All
that
puff stouts tend to be dessert stouts. Yes. If anything, some of the worst beers I had in that Trembling Madness Advent calendar last year were the ones that cost the most money. So like Amundsen's pecan, cinnamon bun, blah de blah de blah pastry hanging off a dance floor sort of nonsense stout. Like that was like 18 quid a can. I remember looking at it, thinking, I don't know, it's absolutely bonkers. I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. Disco says Perryvale, very pale, oatmeal stout, no adjuncts, but like 2 chocolate muffins and a coffee in a glass. But I'm biased. You are, but it's a good suggestion because it comes across as biased, but it's just your local brewery, which you want to shout about.
Why is a stout called very pale?
Does seem weird, that. I'm not going to lie, I read that. I was like, is this actually a stout thing?
Fair comment.
Luke John Frost says Cold Bath Brewing do some fantastic stouts that are actually stouts.
Good.
Nice.
Sorry, he said that's very brick. Oh, I like that. Very brick. I can get on board with that.
Nice. Okay.
Here we go. We've got Jimmy Rushworth 92, who we met a few months ago at the
We did indeed.
pub. Says Crummy. If we're not talking a local craft microbrewery, I have no idea why, but I absolutely love Coffee Stout by Badger. It's my absolute supermarket go-to.
Interesting. I don't think we get that up here. We get some Badger stuff. I don't think we get Coffee Stout. I'll keep an eye.
Not one I've seen. I've seen. No, it's not even theirs. What's that? It's called like milk stout with that kind of black and white wishy label. But that's not. I don't think that's Badger.
That's a black sheep one, mate.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one thing.
That's not bad actually.
But yeah, I don't know. It's hard, isn't it? Like.
Yeah. Right. You need to go back to the comment at 5:30 from.
Cheers, mate. Oh, so yeah, Matt. Haven't had them, mate. If I'm honest, and I hope they're good because I know Brew Brothers have done this big shift over to Greenwich. I don't think they're involved with Meantime because if you think beer, you think Greenwich. It's the Meantime Brewery, but I don't think. I think that's where was it Shindigger? Was that where Shindigger ended up?
Could have been.
Because I think it was Shindigger. Correct me, someone, if I'm wrong, but I think Shindigger were owned by Meantime, and then they weren't producing the beer that Meantime wanted, and then they eventually rolled up the brewery, the Shindigger Brewery, and then moved it into Meantime. Just if someone just confirm the Shindigger name for me, please. Luke John Frost says, I find it difficult when people such as us begin to put a price on beer. And is it worth the price or match the price? I've bought £23 beers that have been rubbish, but also some that are outstanding. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Fair comment.
I've definitely been guilty of questioning a beer price before trying it. 100%.
I wouldn't normally do it. I did it in that box because there was probably enough other beers around at the same time to be able to justify it. And ultimately, German beers in our supermarkets all sit within a relatively similar price range.
Yeah.
So it's not, you know what I mean? You're not having to pluck numbers out of thin air. All you have to do is compare it to one of those others that are always available at a set price and go, is it worth more or less?
It's true, but I do understand what you're saying.
It's a personal thing. It's to you, not to everyone. All of our videos are opinions on what we think. It's not.
I think a lot of the time for YouTube, we try and make discussion points. So the world of beer is like, it's a pretty boring place, really, beer. Let's be honest. There's not a whole lot that goes on. The most exciting it really got in terms of like not having to create talking points was all the BrewDog stuff, and we could talk about it, but it's more like creating a point, like my Aldi versus Lidl, like Aldi punching Lidl off the screen sort of thing. I'm trying to create a talking point, because ultimately people like talking points. You know, that's all the media do. Everything, like anything broadcast, is trying to create a talking point.
You know what's funny though? That little box we should stop talking about at some point. I had no intention of creating a talking point with that. That was like a knee-jerk filming to my genuine thoughts as I drove home with the box. I didn't even give it any consideration. Yes.
Oh, where's the
Just put it back.
Can we go, Chris? Can you just lift that box up again, please? So, in terms of beers, and Tom, obviously, it's available on your channel, and everybody go and watch Tom's video where he sums up the whole box. But my two favourite beers that weren't the big ones were that beer. I'm not going to say that beer there, but the beer towards the middle from the Hofbrau. Was it called a Goosey or something? Something Goose?
There's Hofbrau.
Yeah, to the one to your right, Chris. No.
Other way.
That one.
That one is the
something Goose, isn't it?
Yeah. The bloody diamonds are over the badge of that, but it was the Kulchbauer. Oh yeah, Guinemoose.
Oh, the one with the French label.
Guinemoose.
Yeah, Guinemoose was good. I enjoyed Koenig, but I know Tom rated that last, and I enjoyed the Fest beer that was to the other side of the Hofbrau.
Yeah. Whereas that one with the funky label, the one you said first, I wasn't that bothered about. So
I tried that last week on stream, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "This is the best."
Still talking about it.
Yeah. Jimmy says, "Drury lad, lovely Friday surprise. Listen to you while I wash up. You've probably washed up, dried up, and you're eating back on the same plates again now. An Arbor Vienna Lager to go with it. Oh yeah, I can imagine. I love a Vienna Lager. I love the Vienna malt.
Yeah.
Onto a new Northern Monk Patrons project next. Let me know how that is, Jimmy, because we talked about this, about the Northern Monk quality across their kind of, obviously they've shown their hand a little bit with their bottom range stuff, but it'd be interesting to hear what you think, because I know you've still got your Northern Monk subscription. Matt Williams, Jesus, are we that far behind? Says he loves the smell of pipe tobacco.
We jumped forward. We jumped forward a bit, though. Remember,
we did. To be fair, Luke John Frost says, "I've also bought some £1.49 beers that have been okay, not brilliant, but a lot more than have been total shockers." Yeah. You think about that Love Lane Maple Stout that was £1.79 in the Little Craft Beer Festival. That was insane. Yeah. The Shea Guava Lager from Williams Brothers, that was really good.
Mate, Budvar Dark is back in Lidl. I heard today. Back in Lidl today, apparently.
Mental that you can pick that up for under £2 a bottle. Mental.
That's £1.79 as well.
Like,
I still have it.
What a beer that was!
I've never opened it. I bought it when it first came out, and I still haven't opened it.
I bet that's probably going to mature quite nicely in there.
Yeah.
It turns out I drank my other bottle of the Spot and Octoberfest beer. So sorry, Chris, but I'm going to go for an Augustina instead. I was slightly disappointed by, but I'm going to try it again.
This can, it says on the bottom, was born on the 20th of June 2022 and best before 20th of September 23. So I've had that over a year, well over a year. Just doing nothing.
A little live review. A little live review, Chris.
Do you want me to open it?
Mate, it would be interesting to hear your thoughts because there was a bit of hype at that.
I'll open
There
it.
was a bit of hype around that particular little craft beer festival, so that'd be really interesting to hear.
I'll open it because I'm probably never going to open it. So
I need to back up my own opinion on something. This Augustina Oktoberfest beer is not a patch on the Paulaner. I'm sorry.
No,
It's so
Tom,
far off.
I'm if it's anything like last year's, I'm totally with you. I couldn't believe the Augustina lager beer hell that they do is one of the best lagers in the world, and you can say I'm wrong, but you're wrong. Their Helles lager that they do for like you can pick it up for about £2.80 a bottle is just one of the best lagers in the world. And I was thinking in my head that it would be like the Octoberfest beer would be an amped up version of that because generally they kind of are on the same footprint and just amped up. But it was just like,
It's I've literally just I poured it into the same glass. So if anything, the Paulaner should have helped it a bit. But
yeah,
it immediately going back to back, it just tastes tinny. Like it's not great.
I think that's exactly what I said. Metallic, and I think I used the word metallic at the time. Chris, what are we saying?
I'm saying that's very good.
I remember it smelling beautiful.
It smells like I've never smelt smoked raisins before, but it smells like smoked raisins.
Yeah, it was definitely more winter berries than like coffee and chocolate. You know, like, it's not. It wasn't an overly roasted.
We're just sat here slagging off cheaply made adjunct stouts, and now we're raving about a cheaply made adjunct stout. Just want to point that out.
I don't think this was cheaply made.
You reckon this was a lost leader?
100%, because they've been turning out that Berliner Weiss, raspberry Berliner Weiss, and they needed to do something. Love Lane.
It's very thin for 7.4.
Yeah. Also, remember it cost £1.79.
But I remember it being really.
But it's very nice.
Yeah, I remember rich forest fruits.
Yeah, it's full of fruit.
Not overly roasty. That came in a smoked. It was kind of smoked maple. I remember. Seem to remember.
And that's what I said at the beginning. On the aroma, I got smoked raisins. Not that I've ever smelt smoked raisins, but it's got a smokiness to it. It's a very roasty, dark, fruity. The maple syrup is there, but it's very delicate. It's just all about the fruit, actually. That's more.
It's probably changed quite a lot though in that time.
It would have done in that can.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Especially if there's sugary maple in there with.
Yeah, the maple almost gone. Really, it's all about the fruits, and it's like smoky fruit stout. It's like a ramped up. I don't know, something like if Guinness made a 7.4% Guinness, it's probably what it tastes like.
But Chris, they do.
Well, they do, yeah. Oh, yeah, actually, you're right, and I've reviewed them all as well. So that was a really good comment, wasn't it?
But you compare that, Chris, as the way it sits now. Obviously, it's a bit of a different beer to what I would have tried probably a year or so ago. You compare that to the £4 Northern Monk Wiper and True Stout.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't. I saw your. I didn't actually. I never get to watch YouTube, especially nowadays with it being so busy with the horse box. But I saw your comment. It was something like, "I don't know what to make of this." Or
yeah, it was. I think I can't remember what my thumbnail said. It was. It was underwhelming. It was very underwhelming. Really underwhelming.
It was just like I bought those. I reviewed it back to back with 3 other beers, and I had the Siren Craft beer that I was like, this could be hit or miss because Siren Craft in the supermarket or the bottom end are very hit and miss, and it was a miss. So I wasn't surprised at that. But Siren Craft are a good brewery and they brew some good beers, so it was like, yeah, it's just a bad one. Then I tried the Northern Monk Transient Shipwreck, the Pina Colada IPA, which was like terrible, not even an ounce better than the BrewDog Pina Colada Palm Beach, whatever they released 6 months ago. Then I tried the Northern Monk Faith in Futures, where I was like, right, 2 rubbish beers, give me a good one, Faith in Futures. It was like boring. It was like missing. It was like smelled horrible. And it tasted, I think that's the one that tasted quite damp. And then when I went into that Northern Monk and Wiper and True Stout, I was like, right, this is where it could pick up, because if Northern Monk do anything well, it is their stouts.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it used to be their IPAs, but their stouts do stand up. And I tried it. I was like, this is just boring. It wasn't a horrible beer. There were no like off flavors, that metallic kind of chemical thing that a lot of the Northern Monk beers do have nowadays, unfortunately. It just never got going. And when you compare that beer to what that beer was, when you compare the Northern Monk beer to the one you're drinking now, Chris, it's kind of like, blooming heck, it's £1.79, not really that long ago.
Oh no, it isn't really. I was really disappointed in that Northern Monk Stout. Dark Matter it was called.
Yeah, that was it.
Collab with Wiper and True. And I was thinking of all the grief that Northern Monk have had online recently with all their stupid gimmick beers. You'd think, I was expecting that Northern Monk Wiper and True Stout to be bang on it.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't. I'd
have put my house on that being good, Chris.
Perhaps that's why I bought it. I thought, I looked at it, saw it, and I thought, that is going to be incredible. And at the beginning of my review of that, I said, this stout is going to be amazing. And then it wasn't. And I thought that was really sad, because Northern Monk used to produce some fantastic stouts. Absolutely mind-blowing stouts. I don't know what they're doing at Northern Monk. I don't know what the issues are, but there's something going on there.
Mark, I meant to plug this a while ago. Have you been drinking Helles out of a Weiss beer glass?
No.
You naughty boy, Mark.
I'm sorry. It should technically be out of this one.
That also looks like a Weiss beer glass.
It is a bit Weiss beer, but it's a bit more lagery the way it tapers in at the top.
No, that's a Weiss beer glass.
I know, but I don't. Right, I've got to go, guys. See you later. Luke John Frost says, I've got given a box of Monte Cristo cigars, and I don't even smoke, but they could be worth something down the line.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, they will be if Rishi Sunak gets his way, mate. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Dave, not this political. Dave Will says, not heard of them. The other, I think they're a really small brewery. It's on Simon's channel somewhere if you want to have a little look. Spenno says, I've really got into the Hefeweizen beers over this German beer period, mate. Give me a bottle of Franziskaner, and I'm happy as a pig in mud. Yeah. Luke John Frost says, call me whatever you want, Tommy boy. Frank or not. Luke John Frost says, I heard that Guinness Guru has stopped doing it as he fed up with the black stuff. Yeah, he's changed it to Dara.
Just his name, isn't it?
Yeah, Dara. Oh, I was going to say Dara Armar, but that's just too stereotypical. It's like Dara.
I can't remember his name, but yeah,
but he has changed. He's gone into more food and stuff now, hasn't he?
Yeah, and why not? You know, he's done it for a long time, and he'd made a really good channel out of it. But if he's bored of it, then
it's fascinating that you can grow a channel off one beer.
Absolutely, yeah. But that's the power of Guinness, isn't it? And the following Guinness has.
Yeah.
But his channel hasn't really suffered for giving it up. And fair play to him. If he was bored of it and had enough, then
he's almost got to that point now where, I mean, that must be his full-time job now. 100,000 subscribers now. We're getting towards.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's almost like a personality now, so he could go in and review cars and he'd do well. Do you know what I mean? But he's stayed in like the food and drink sort of thing. But yeah, fair play to him. He seems like a really nice bloke as well. Really honest, and I'll watch the videos from time to time.
Yeah, I do. I'd say fair play to him.
Absolutely.
It'd be very difficult. You look at how many craft beer channels have 100,000 plus subs. Yet all he used to do was talk about Guinness, and as that many, just shows the power of Guinness, doesn't it? And the following Guinness.
It's true. And I reckon a lot of it is like content consistency.
Yeah.
So if someone clicks one of our videos, they don't know if they're going to get a Weiss beer, a lager, a Guinness, an interview with somebody, a brewery tour, a tour around, and I've released every single one of these videos in the past 6 months. Whereas him, you kind of know what you're getting, and it's almost like you've got something to compare it to one of his videos a couple of days ago. Yeah. Fair play to him; he's done really well, and he is where we all. Let's be real, he is where we all want to be. Really, let's be real. Thomas Juice, I'm not a fan of Octoberfest, but did try Erdinger and Paulaner Müncher beers from Aldi. Erdinger was all right. I remember that Erdinger being really. I think if I think back to like fest beers, on my first proper fest beer, I think the Erdinger was the first one.
I'm sorry. If you hold on, you say you tried the Erdinger and the Paulaner from Aldi, and you came out with the Erdinger was all right, which suggests that you didn't think the Paulaner was very good at all. I'm going to assume it's Stu on the channel because it's normally Stu. Stu, come on, mate, come on.
He's got Paulaner Müncher, so I wonder if he's mixed up Spartan. I've got someone playing Happy Hardcore outside my window.
On the label, it is the Paulaner logo is Paulaner München.
Ah, yeah, fair. Well, yeah, that Paulaner this year was an absolute delight, and the fact we could get it at £2 all around the UK was quite incredible. Matt Williams says that's but I'm going to skip to his comment, and I think he's meant to say that's the trouble. All craft stouts tend to be dessert stouts. Oh, we did this before.
So we've been here. We're going to need to jump forward a bit now. While you're jumping forward and finding, so the Lager Logs have done a video on some of those Oktoberfest beers, and apparently I feature quite heavily, and they want me to film my reaction to their video. Now I need to apologise. I have not had any time this week. It's been chaos, but I will do it. But I've not watched it yet because I've not had time to film myself watching it yet.
Okay. Disco says, evening everybody peeps. Happy damn beery Friday, absolutely. No beers from me yet, just sitting whilst peeling a thick ton of apples off the tree. Hello, mate. Yeah. Little apple pie going on. We like that, mate. We like that. Luke, John Frost, happy Friday to you. CJ, how you doing, mate? Honestly. If anyone wants to just look at attractive ladies on Instagram, just look at the people that CJ follows. Sensational. CJ says the Aldi Stout is decent, also made by Badger.
That coffee stout is decent. He's right.
I've tried both, and I think the Aldi is better.
Yeah, I like that Aldi coffee stout. Yeah, that's decent.
I don't know if I have, but I will do now.
I was literally in Blandford Forum where Badger brew their beers. What's their brewery called? It's not Badger. It's called...
no idea.
We find out.
It's not Henry Weston's. But it's something like Peter Griffin's. It's not that. It's something like that. I'll tell you, if you're going to buy a beer,
is it Hall and Woodhouse?
Not Peter Griffin. Oh,
it's Hall and Woodhouse.
Someone's own.
It's Hall and Woodhouse. Stunning brewery, by the way, in the middle of nowhere.
Daddy,
can you hear this?
Oh yes.
Daddy Mark. Here we go. Luke John Frost says a lot of northern breweries don't mess with the stouts; they just make them and name them. To be fair, if I'm buying a beer from a big regional brewer, I'm buying a stout because they won't mess that up because it's nine times out of 10 straight up.
Yeah, true.
I might have to let my daughter in. I'm sorry. Hey, she's naked. I can't.
Oh, she's naked. Don't
Sorry, guys. Just ignore me for 2 minutes.
You're ignored for 2 minutes. That's all you get.
All right. What's next on the comments then? Let's go find out. Where is he? Oh, he's so far behind. Disco says Shindigger are from Manchester, so I'll be very surprised if they were owned by Meantime from Greenwich. Yeah, that's quite far away. As says David Wilson, Shindigger are Manchester brewery, still going as far as I know. Mark's just got his facts wrong. We'll let him know when he gets back. He has a child in a towel. Your mic's muted, Mark.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, it's my wife's dressing gown. She wants to come say hello. Say hi, Tom. Hi, Chris.
Hi.
You gonna wave?
Oh, give us a wave.
Absolutely not.
Come on. Oh, mate. Give him a wave.
Oh, give us a wave.
Say hiya.
Hi.
Look at that face.
Come on. Give us a wave.
Say something.
Go on. Look at that lovely smile.
Go on, say something.
Go on. Say hi.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Tom.
Hi. Just a little hi.
Say hi. Who's that? It's Tom. Look, you know Tom. You've met Tom, and that's Chris. Can I have a kiss?
Just a little high.
One for the cheek. Yeah, darling. Right.
Getting in the bath.
We'll wait. Mark's going to be back imminently. We'll let him know his mistakes. We've done the next two comments, Mark. Apparently, you.
I heard about Shindigger. It's not Shindigger, is it? Oh, who the hell was it?
Can you show me this book?
Sorry, Shindigger. When I was saying it, the reason I sort of wanted, the reason I was like, I don't think it's them because I didn't think it was you. Who was it? Right. Who was it that they could?
Come on.
Can someone get in the comments? Let me know. Shindigger from Manchester. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know she's crying. I'm sorry. Yeah. Some reviewers, Luke John Frost says, some reviewers I've noticed tend to make price now a factor in whether it's good or not. I've always done that, to be fair, because I think I'm a beer buyer first and stick my opinions on YouTube second. And I think price has to come into it.
I only mention price when it's relevant in the fact that it's unordinary.
Anyone hear this, by the way?
Sorry?
Can anyone hear my daughter crying, by the way?
Yeah, we can a little bit. But it's fine.
1 sec, sorry.
Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Yeah, no, I'll include it if it's an oddity. So, like, when it comes to things like BrewDog or that Love Lane stout that you drink at the minute, Chris, where it's so cheap and brilliant, it's like it's worth talking about. Or on the flip side, if it's obscenely expensive, that does matter. Because if you just do a review, say this is fantastic, yeah, this is really good, you should go buy it, and then someone goes and looks it up and it's 13 quid a can, like that feels a bit disingenuous. So like, but if it's just in the £3 to £5 range or £6 to £8 range, if it's high ABV, then I'm probably not going to mention it.
No, that's fair, isn't it? And a lot of my reviews, I barely mention the price. Most of the time it's because I just forget to mention how much I've paid for it. But yeah, if I review a beer that's £1.50 and it's amazing, I think that's a really good beer. And and what makes it even more remarkable is that I'm buying that for £1.50. So in that case, I will look at the price and think, wow, that's £1.50, £1.79 for a most amazing beer. But if I pay a lot of money and the beer doesn't taste good, then I'm going to have the ump. Simple as that.
Yeah, of course.
I think, it depends on. I think it depends on the reviewer. I think I will often mention the amount I pay for the beer, and I'll often mention quality in relation because I think that's a big thing at the moment, especially with the supermarket churning out £4, £5 in some cases. If Tom's right with that, beers for low quality £5 beers. I mean that is disgusting. And we're in a bit of a squeeze at the moment. Like people aren't as rich as they were, or cash rich as they were at the end of payday. As what they were three years ago, really. So yeah, for me, I think it's quite an important factor.
Right.
And
I was nearly right. Tiny Rebel 505 in Morrison's £4.75.
That's
ridiculous.
Outrageous.
The fact it's more than £3 is a joke. There we go. In my opinion.
Outrageous.
And Luke John Frost says, if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. Yeah, but I think there's a bit of fat on either end of those sort of brackets where, for me, I think I'm a bit, like I say, I buy my beer. Generally, I get sent very little in the grand scheme.
It is relevant. I know I keep going back to BrewDog because I think it's about one of the best semi-available good beers in existence at this point at a good price. But at £1.79, it's a steal. At £2-3 I'd be more than happy. Yep. But if that broke £5, I wouldn't give you a positive review. It is relative. It is important.
Yeah, for me it is. I think it is.
Oh, yeah,
Captain Meat says, all right, Aldi have done a decent job with the anti-establishment beers. I think, and it's only my opinion, I think that BrewDog might even brew these beers.
Well, they did brew one for our.
They've done the Aldi IPA, didn't they?
Yeah.
Or the Aldi PA.
Old IPA.
And that all came about because of the anti-beers, didn't it?
Yeah.
That's how that Aldi IPA with BrewDog came about, was because of Audi trying to rip them off, and they just came together, didn't they, and made Audi IPA,
which is fantastic, by the way. You
absolutely.
I mean, I was going to say you can stick as much blame as, or you can point your finger at BrewDog as much as you like. I mean, you can, absolutely, that's your right to do that. But they did just win Employer of the Year, didn't they, or something mental? Apparently,
Really?
Yeah, apparently, yeah. Have a look. It's something about being a good employer.
When you, just remember when you read those stats out, who won first of best British beer this year?
Yeah, yeah. Hi, Green King. You can say what you like about BrewDog, but they know how to market. James Watt is a marketing genius.
What did you think of that?
Not tried it.
I think I had the bottled version, and I mean, still sitting here now. And I've got half the bottle left because I just very rarely clean this room, if I'm honest. But I just found it really boring. It could have been. I think I started the review saying, if I buy a BrewDog beer, it's normally one of their malt forward beers, which amber ales tend to be. And it was never really.
That was meant to be a Doom Bar rip-off, right?
It might have been, but they missed the mark. I'd rather have a bottle of Doom Bar.
Oh, God.
Oh, cutting.
Seriously. There was some...
awful.
I know.
I'm going to defend Doom Bar in that I've had it about 2 miles from where it's brewed. And in that situation, it makes perfect sense and it's fine. As soon as you move it away from that, it's awful.
Yeah. It's always that thing though, when it like black sheep beers get slated left, right, and centre. But if you have a black sheep beer 2 miles from where the brewery is, it is going to be cream. It's
so good.
But I have to say, I have to give BrewDog credit for this. Or not credit. How do I say this? Normally, and Chris and Tom, I don't know if you're the same, but if you buy a BrewDog beer from the supermarket to review, you're almost, and you try not to be, or sorry, I'm not going to talk about you, but I try not to be, but I'm almost primed and ready to say really disappointing chemical flavors and go to all those kind of like same old BrewDog sort of, things. But I have to say, their Wingman, I thought that had a bit of quality about it. It didn't have that horrible. Session IPAs are well hit and miss anyway, especially in the supermarket. But that is a lot better than a lot of the session IPAs that have come from pretty decent breweries in the supermarket. Controversial opinion.
Yeah,
I've not tried it, but
I mean,
possible.
The last BrewDog beer I reviewed was only a week ago, and it was their BrewDog Grind Coffee Stout.
Yeah,
that was really good. I thought it was a really good stout from BrewDog. They are, I think, better at stouts than they are anything else at the moment. But it was a good stout, and we've all bashed BrewDog. But I thought, we've got to do things honestly. And I thought, I'm not going to bash it just because it's BrewDog. It was a good stout. I really enjoyed it.
That is the temptation, isn't it, to sort of get on a bit of a high horse about BrewDog, because they are a bit of an easy target,
Absolutely.
Because you almost know that if you slate a BrewDog beer, your comments are going to agree with you because it's BrewDog, and a lot of people would have even tried the beer and they'll come in and sort of say stuff. But they brew good stouts, like Roaster Coaster. I would choose Roaster Coaster. I wish it was still available. I would choose Roaster Coaster at £2.90, £3, not even £3, I don't think.
Yeah.
I would choose that stout above so many others that are going to cost double the money.
Yeah. See, I agree, and I loved Roaster Coaster. I bought lots of Roaster Coaster. It was one of those beers that I did keep going back and buying. But Roaster Coaster's been gone quite a long time now, isn't it? And you think, when Roaster Coaster first came out, that was something different. And I just wonder if it was still around now, would we still feel the same way about it? Would it have been reduced in quality, being BrewDog?
Maybe.
Or with all the other amazing stouts that have come over the last year and a half, even 2 years, would it still stand up? I'd love to think it would, because I've just got such a love for Roaster Coaster. But I think Roaster Coaster, would it still be the same?
I'm with you, and I think no, because Roaster Coaster was brewed in Ohio. So
was it all brewed in Ohio?
I believe Roast to Coast was brewed in Ohio, which is where they've got the nitro charging canning capability, which I don't have in the UK apparently.
Right.
Well, certainly of 18 months ago, but apparently. And Roast to Coaster would be a victim of fuel prices going up, duty going up. You know, they can't import the beer anymore from America. I mean, it's a long way to go, a long way to transport beer. But that Roast Coaster was a joke. That was.
Oh, it was outstanding. It was my daughter.
Is Rachel in here?
No, Leah's come in here, and I pressed the mic button when she came in, and she's.
I just heard a couple of Michael Jackson. I was like, "What's going on here?"
She's giggling her ass off because she's just mugged me off.
What have you done, Leah?
Go on, say it. Go on, say it.
What are you wearing?
She's laughing at what I'm wearing. She's actually mugging me off for what I'm wearing.
What are you talking about? You arrived and I said how nice a shirt that was. What's the mugging off for?
Well, who's complaining that your mum's always ill? She's a hypochondriac. Yeah. What's wrong with my green shirt?
That's not a fucking shirt.
What is it then?
I mean, I didn't really analyse what you were wearing, Chris, but you do look like you should be riding a Willys Jeep on D-Day in that.
I'm sure.
And that is a strong look, Mark.
I know, Tom. I mean, I'm well outnumbered because Tom does love a button-up, khaki-coloured green.
The thing is, this shirt isn't button-up.
Always got a zip.
It's got a zip.
Standard army issue back in 1939.
It's not a jacket.
It's a jacket.
It's a shirt with a zip. Look how thin it is. So what if I'm wearing a jacket in my pub shed?
Because you look stupid.
No, you look stupid. Get out.
You look stupid.
Off you go. Ta-da.
I'm taking the dog out.
Yeah, you take the dog
Yeah,
out. Your dog. Yeah, you take the dog out. Yeah. Pick up this dog shit on the way as well. It's in my garden.
That's your dinner, Chris.
Yeah,
Luke John Frost says 30p difference between two beers. Wouldn't say one is better than the other. No. I don't think 30p is enough. But certainly when Tiny Rebel are charging £4.75 for the 505,
it's about percentage. It's about percentage, isn't it? As soon as you hit like kind of 25% difference, all of a sudden that's significant.
Yeah, I agree. David Wilson says, Jimmy, if you want good traditional stout, Fuller's Black Cab, what a beer that is. Can't believe it's still this widely available. Or their London Porter, which is also another very good beer.
Yeah.
Disco says, agree with that, Luke. Price is the price. I rate beer whether I like them or not. Yeah, that's fair. I think everyone's got their own style. I just think price is relevant because I'm a beer buyer before a YouTuber, so to speak. David Wilson says, saw the Budvar in local Lidl yesterday. Tommy, it's back. It's confirmed.
It's out there. It's
confirmed. Luke John Frost has got to go. F1 qualifying is on. Cheers, Luke. Cheers, Mr. Wilson.
I've got it on record. I'm going to go watch it.
Shortly. Oh, it actually is.
It is. Yeah, no, it is. I've got about 15 minutes and I have to jump ship, I'm afraid. But,
I thought it was taking the mic because I was taking so long to get through the comments. Disco says, right, big batch of apples peeled and boiled. Time for a Friday beer. What shall I start on? Oh, you've probably had 4 by now, but I'll probably get something hoppy. Something hoppy.
What you've got, Rathco.
It's true. Klaus Heitman says the beers ruining craft are the BrewDog and Northern Monk and so on. Stuff that isn't 1 inch better than big beers that come out at a price tag 3 times. Mate, that is exactly correct. In my opinion, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think, some of the, if you think the price of Northern Monk Stout, if you want a winter beer, you can go and get an ES like that Northern Monk Stout was £4, and you can go and get an ESB for about £2.30, can't you? Less than that.
We're just going to buy a Fuller's ESB.
Great. Sorry, that's what I mean. Sorry, Fuller's ESB for Fuller's ESB for that money.
Yeah.
If you want to win a beer. Charlie Keeble, how you doing, mate? Hello, Mark. Kind of good to see you, Charlie. He's one of my friends, Joel. Charlie is his son. Spenny says, talking about the added stouts, I've just looked at the fridge and I've got a not sorry 10.5% ABV peanut butter and chocolate imperial stout. I think it's one they picked up on holiday. Who was that from, Spenny? Who was that from, mate? Charlie says, saw April earlier. Where? She's meant to be locked in the house. She don't go out of the house. No, I'm joking. When did she say? Spencer says, sorry, forgot it was from the Lakes Brew Co. What a brewery they are. Properly underrated for me. Properly underrated. They've been around for a long time as well. 111 said you should invite Raggy on sometime. I would happily. I just don't really speak to Raggy. You know, I think you get involved in sort of a friendship group, and I don't really speak to him, if I'm honest.
Yep.
Rare. Charlie, hello, mate. £1.99 super chat. Thank you. What's your favourite beer? Oof, that is a loaded question, Charlie, and that's a question I get asked a lot.
It's an
my
easy
favourite beer.
It's such an easy
heck.
question. I don't
Go
know
on.
how you find that difficult to answer. It's easy.
Go on, Chris.
The most favourite beer you can have is when you're sitting having a beer with friends and having a great time. Doesn't matter.
See, I didn't want to say that. I wanted to give a beer. Like, I agree with that. The favourite beer is the one that, like, yeah, makes you smile when you think of it the most. My favourite beer as of now is the Dunkelweiss, the Spezial Dunkelweiss. I believe Tommy or Chris, you bought one from Beers of Europe recently. Did you buy? It's a Dunkelweiss. It's by Hackish. It's a Dunkelweiss by Hackish 4, and it's got like a nighttime kind of constellation logo. That was
Not me.
I drunk it and I was like, I need another one. So yeah, they're from Beers of Europe as well. Il Corvo, can't go. Hello, mate. Good to see you. Can't go wrong with Weiss beers. I generally switch to them from lager in autumn. I think you're probably bang on the money there, mate. You bang on the money there for me. No beers for me yet either. No, Charlie. How old are you, Charlie, now? You like 15, 16 now? Yeah. Good lad. Good lad is Charlie. Yes, it's me, Tom. Loved it. We reviewed them both for an Octoberfest video, but the PM beer I had. PM?
Oh, Paul Arne Munchen.
The Paul Arne beer I had almost come out flat.
Really?
Wow.
Curious.
That would suggest a bottling lid issue, which is quite extraordinary for a brewery of that size.
I mean, I don't want to advocate drinking too much at all. Never mind too much of the one beer, but I've had quite a few of those now and not had an issue. So I don't know. Curious.
Disco says Hall and Woodhouse is buzzy. Yes. Beautiful, old, traditional, like big brick facade, 5-6 floors, arched windows. Beautiful brewery, all lit up. It was lovely. When I drove by 2.5 weeks ago. Thomas Dew said, no hurry at all, Tom, but yes, we'll eventually make a fun YouTube short about our Lord and Saviour. Disco says, I don't think Meantime do own anyone else. They were bought out by themselves and known by Asahi. Yeah, but I think Asahi owned a craft beer brewery. Excuse me. It'd be interesting to find out who, because I know for a fact that there was a brewery. It was someone like, right, I've done this earlier with Shindiger, but it was someone like Brick, like someone that's known for being in London, and they shut down that particular brewery, moved it back to Meantime, and all the chaos. That was about 6 months ago, to be fair. Don't worry about family noise, Mark. It's not an issue. We're humans with families. Kids always make a racket. The first time I was on stream with Crummy, I was attacked by my children, dragged off camera. You know what, mate?
Asahi Meantime, and
Meantime own breweries, don't they? I'm sure it was a brewery.
Okay,
by Meantime.
This one. So, do Asahi own Fuller's?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's one of the biggest brewery acquisitions in UK brewing history. That one.
They own Dark Star.
Dark Star. That was it. Dark Star. They used to put beers into Marks and Spencers.
That's
But
right.
pretty decent brewery, really.
Decent
Dark Star.
Yeah, they were decent beers.
They had a black IPA that was quite good. Yeah, it was Dark Star.
Yeah.
Sorry, ignore the Shindiger Brick thing. It was Dark Star. Thank you. Thank you, Thomas Joe. I appreciate that, honestly. 111 evening, gents, on the Colonel Simmons. Hello, mate. You show off. You coming here showing off? Yeah, I think Colonel, for me, can I be controversial? I think Colonel are overrated.
I'll go with you on that. I'll go with you.
but their malt forward beers are sensational.
So this is the problem I've got. So many people rave about them, and I'd be with you. But so many people rave about them. They've got to be good. I've had about 6 of their beers, I reckon, and not one of them I properly enjoyed, but they've all been hop forward.
If you get into their stouts, especially like they're doing that, was it an export porter that I had on draft in Liverpool? That's good. Like their dark stuff is very, very good. And I imagine because of their dark stuff,
dark ones, but even those were so insanely hop forward. It was
yeah, but
like,
they do that.
I
They
don't
don't
know.
they do like a Columbus Stout at about 64%, and you'll be like, "Well, it's 90 quid a bottle, and I'm not interested." Hey, how you doing, mate?
Mini
Chris here.
All right, lad. All right. There's Mini Me. Or
I was literally going to say this is Chris if he had hair.
They've even going for the same beers. It's quite impressive.
That is what you call a chip off the old block.
Can we stick a mop on Chris's head, then see the side by side?
Yeah. There is a photo of me in this pub shed with hair. It is in it, but it's behind that bag. Yeah, pull that out. I don't know how well this will show up on camera.
I don't know if you're going to be insanely handsome or you're going to look like Dr. Wito.
You need to enlarge the screen for this.
Sorry, let me do this. Sorry, Chris.
This is the days when we used to have photographs properly printed at a photo shop. This was when I was 21. I'm 48, and I'm with Rachel. But I don't know how well that's going to show up. But
mate,
and
you're both a catch.
Say that again.
You're both catches.
I'm straight, brother.
See, that's interesting because I thought Chris looked a little bit like the Scary Movie 2, the guy with the small hand.
Jeremy Beadham.
My jobs.
I'll be honest, I reckon it was probably the camera tech in whatever year that was taken, but you look very pasty there, Chris.
I mean, I probably was pasty. I mean, yeah, I don't think the photo helps because Rachel looks really pasty as well. But
Chris, how old are you? Did you say
48? And that
48. So Tom, you thought camera tech. It would have been smile, please.
Mm.
Boom.
Yeah. I was 21 in that photo.
No.
Wow. There you go.
48.
There we go. You look good for 48, mate, by the way. We haven't mentioned this.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I look older than you, and I'm 35.
And still with the lady of my dreams. We've been together a very long time.
She must be in the room.
No, she's not. She's not.
Yeah, well, welcome, Rachel, everybody.
No, she's not in the room. I don't know where she is. I know she's in the house somewhere, but no, I adore my wife. She's an amazing woman.
That's good to know.
You adore who?
Your wife.
My wife. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. My wife was born in Essex. On to the next comment, Jimmy Rushworth. I frankly would rather listen to April than you.
Oh dear.
Well, when Jimmy came around my house, he bought me he bought me 1 or 2 beers, but he bought April this like massive tray. It was like the size of size of a small window of chocolates when he stayed around my house. Or biscuits. I say the funny thing is, it was biscuits, and my wife at the time was gluten intolerant, and the pregnancy kind of cured that. But yeah, it's another story for another time. But yeah,
gentlemen,
funny.
before you carry on, I'm going to have to bid you farewell.
Oh, Crummy, where are you off to?
Jeffrey Corner's immediately about to arrive home with dinner, and then it's more Rugby World Cup matches, I'm afraid.
No worries, mate. Thanks for coming up.
Because it only happens once every 4 years. But thank you very much, sir. Everyone have a great weekend.
Thank you. Nice to see you, mate. Have a good one.
Good to see you, Tommy.
We'll do. Have some exciting beery adventures, and I'll catch you all very, very soon.
Bye, mate.
See you later. Bye.
And then there were 2. Disco says, you would say about the background noise, Stu, but you're used to dealing with Tom on screen. If you know, you know. Matt Hall. Hey, guys. Welcome to the weekend. Matt, thanks for coming in, mate. And welcome to the weekend to you too, good sir. Chris, what are you drinking currently, mate?
I am drinking from the Perfect Draft, the Spaten Oktoberfest.
Is it good on draft?
It's I'll tell you what. I'm starting to sound a little bit green, aren't I? I need to turn the main strip light on. But I've still got this Love Lane Stout, and then when I poured that, after having a mouthful of that, this tasted absolutely dreadful. But it's only because I've had that. But now, yeah, it's decent.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I have to say, I am tempted. I don't have a perfect draft. I've got the Beer Monster. And I've got the Beer Monster because so many local breweries around me do the 5 litre mini kegs.
That's right, yeah.
So there's kind of a bit of a thing, especially around here in Norfolk. It's like local people buying local produce. And it's like, I do buy into that. I really do. But I have to say, the chance to get Oktoberfest beers and the Franciscana Royale when that comes around, and there's like little sort of like those months in that year where they come around, I am tempted. I'm not going to lie.
Well, if you just go with, there's 2 PD machines out, aren't there? There's the standard one, and then there's the PD Pro, which I get all the benefits of the PD Pro. And I really love my PD. I had a problem with it.
£100 more though, isn't it, for the Pro than the
way more, even more. You can
more
pick
than
up.
that.
Yeah, I think the normal PD now, I think you can buy it for about 160 quid. Whereas the PD Pro is still pushing 300. And I had a problem with my PD, and it was just coming up to the year's warranty. But I had a problem with it. The compressor in it went. I contacted Philips, and they came and picked it up, and within a week it was back repaired.
That's good. That is the thing that you do get with the PD. Like Philips are.
Yeah.
I've used Philips for a lot of things, especially like professionally as well. My job being an electrician, I use Philips for a lot of things, and they are quite good with that, especially the warranty stuff. And that is a factor, isn't it? If you spend 150 to £200 on the machine or something, you want it to be kind of covered and protected.
Absolutely. When you buy some of the dark beers, like the Belgian beers, and there's some fantastic Belgian beers on the PD, you do want those around about the 6 or 7 degree mark, whereas the standard PD drops everything to 3 degrees.
Yeah.
But there's the PD Pro, you can set the temperature, but I think I'll still buy the Belgian beers that you want at 6 or 7 or 8 degrees. I'll just pour it, sit it on the side.
Yeah.
Half an hour, and it gets up to temperature.
If you pour a beer the way it should be poured, especially continental beer, where it's all about degassing the beer, isn't it, Chris? And putting that big head on that beer. Yeah. Especially if you've got like the right glass where your head's going to be that big, but it's only going to affect 5 or be 5% of the beer.
Yeah.
Temperature doesn't really become an issue, does it, at that point?
No, it doesn't. And I've not had it. I love it. It's a great machine, and if that broke now, I'd buy another one. Absolutely, I would.
There we go. That's can't be better. Can't be a better recommendation than that. David Wood says, "Hi, Matt." Matt Williams says, "Yeah, definitely brewed at Ellen." Spenno, got to bow, lads. Mate, he's bowed and he's finished his dinner. Have a great evening, great weekend. Cheers, Spenno, for coming in, mate. What a bloke he is. What a nice guy. Go and check out the Spencer Arms new sort of beer YouTube channel. Does things a bit differently, but yeah, top bloke. Matt Williams says, I had a Doom bar at Rock. Yeah, and it was decent. That's where their brewery was.
Pop into the toilet.
No worries, mate. I was about to do that, and he beat me to it, so I'm going to have to cross my legs for a little bit. Mark Jones, how you doing, Mark Jones? Thanks for coming in. Hi, guys. Happy Friday. I'm just having the only craft beer in the house, a Northern Monk Heretic. That was all right, wasn't it? 6.5% hazy IPA. Delish. Never had it before. I believe that was all right, yeah. And did they not bring out the Heretic and the Tank Petrol? They were beers that hit Morrison's or Tesco's at the same time. Dave Wilson says, Roaster Coaster, all imported from the USA. Yes. So Roaster Coaster was a collaboration brewed with Evil Twin, who were from Brooklyn in New York. I believe it was brewed and canned in Ellen. Sorry. I believe it was brewed and canned in Ohio, not Ellen. So a lot of the BrewDog beers, it will say brewed in Ellen. Like, they're very good with that BrewDog, to be fair. They're quite transparent, and they'll say around, I think it's around the bottom of the shield, they'll say brewed in Ellen or brewed in Ohio. But yeah, what a beer. Matt Williams says, I used to love the original bottle Jet Black Heart. I only have had it in the can when it was was it an oatmeal stout? I believe it was an oatmeal stout. Because then they brought out, I think off the back of that, they brought out the Nacho Libre, which is like a chili infused stout. But generally, BrewDog stouts are decent. I do worry a little bit where they bought out, like around Jet Black Heart time, they brought out layer cake, didn't they? Which was like the Neapolitan thing, and it was a bit too sweet. But for me, when BrewDog just do a decent stout with like something you expect to be in a stout, like oats or something else, it's normal, or coffee or chocolate or an addition like that, normally it's very good. Mark Jones says, Chris, you look like the ITV weatherman. Mate, remind me when he comes back to say that again. It's an overshare. It absolutely is. Captain Meat says, BrewDog versus Cloudwater Nipa was an all-time classic too. Was that those 4 cans they bought out with like silver and stuff? Yeah. Captain Meat says, you looking for a good cheap stout? You can't beat Black Cab Stout by Fuller's. I agree. What's it, £2 a bottle or something? It's called the Snobby Clip Mark. I know. Mersey Beers, hello, mate. Evening, just finished work. Bricker Independent. Fuller's bought Dark Star. Yes, sorry, mate. This is a little while ago. Fuller's bought Dark Star. Was it Fuller's or Meantime that bought Dark Star? I thought it was Meantime. Could be wrong. Fuller's are owned by a Hong Kong conglomerate who Asahi distribute for the UK craft brewery who Asahi own is Meantime. There we go. That's the link. Dark Star bought by Fuller's who in turn bought by Asahi's. Dark Star still in Fuller's pubs, some seasonal beers, and has been very good. I was down in the New Forest a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of their pubs randomly are owned by Fuller's. And so I had some Dark Star on cask. It was almost like to go down memory lane of a brewery that I thought had disappeared. And some of it was pretty decent. Hoppy pales and stuff. Disco says Dark Star production was moved to Meantime. That's what I'm thinking of. That's kind of where this conversation originated as part of the ownership thing, despite Fuller's saying they wouldn't. Yeah, they said they wouldn't, but I don't think the brewery was producing as much as it needed to. The original Dark Star brewery from memory. And I think that basically Fuller's might have decided to move it into Meantime because it wasn't worth having an extra site running at low percentages, I suppose. David Durrell, hello mate, evening. Tried the Fuller's Vintage Ale. I've got 2 here that I haven't opened yet. Dark Star kept me going during 11 nights quarantine in a rubbish South London hotel when I was trying to get... Oh, hello. We're talking about Fuller's now. Chris has just cracked a big boy.
Yeah, boy.
I'll tell you what, it says it all, that under the ESB logo, there's the golden word, legendary.
Legendary.
And it is. It's true.
It's in the London Pride glass, but
it's just going to be a really good drinking experience. I'm mildly annoyed that I haven't got one to drink with you.
There's a Fuller's pub near me that I do frequent reasonably often, and they know how to look after their beer. The only glass, I haven't got a Fuller's glass, and I was in there last weekend, and I had a pint of ESB, and they did serve it in this very, very glass. So just before we were leaving, I took the glasses back up to the bar and I said, I really like this glass. Can I have it? And they were like, yeah, of course, take it.
Legends.
I always ask. I've never pinched a beer glass in a pub, because if you ask, they'll let you have it. So you might as well ask.
It's true. It's not worth getting a criminal record for. Right. Talking to criminal records, I'm going to get a criminal record if I wee myself and soak my wife downstairs because I'm absolutely bursting. So, Chris, can I leave it with you?
Yeah, go for it, mate. Feel free. But yeah, that Fuller's pub near me, it's right on a canal. I always forget the name of it. Grove Lock. Sorry, yeah, it's called the Grove Lock. It's literally 20 minutes from me, and it is bang on the canal. Funny enough, with a lock. And in the summer, it's just a glorious, glorious pub to go to. You can get a table right on the canal footpath. You can just sit there at the lock, watching canal boats come and go. And like I say, they really know how to look after their beer. Every beer I've ever had in that pub has always been good. Their food has gone up and down, but their beers, they get it right. They know how to look after their beers in that pub, and That makes such a difference. And the ESB is a legendary beer. I'm sure I reviewed it. I must have reviewed it, but I love it. Absolutely love Fuller's ESB. But what I also enjoy about when Asahi took over Fuller's, I was a bit concerned. But I do feel that Asahi have left Fuller's to get on with it. They've just left them to keep making beer. It doesn't overly seem like they've cut corners anywhere at Asahi. I think they have just left Fuller's to get on with it, because the Fuller's were always a successful brewery. What has changed recently, certainly if I think in the last sort of 6 months to a year, is they have changed the labels. The labels have slightly changed, but I don't think the beer has particularly changed a great deal. It's still a good beer. And they've apparently got a really, really good brewery shop, Fuller's, which I need to go to. I do need to get down to the Fuller's shop. I like Fuller's beer. It's probably quite clear. Where do we go up to in the comments? So he's at the David Durrell comment. What I can't do is put the comments on the screen, but and I'm doing this on my phone, which makes it a little bit difficult. There's another David Durrell comment, but that's not the one we just had, was it? There it is. So David Durrell, 48, must have had 2 paper rounds. Funny enough, David Durrell, in terms of paper rounds, I did have 2. No, 3. Most of the time it was 1. Occasionally, well, no, it was always 2. I always had 2. I did the every morning paper round. I loved it. I love my morning paper round. I absolutely love that. And every Thursday I would do the weekly newspaper. Didn't particularly enjoy that one. And occasionally I'd cover another paper round. Yeah, I used to really enjoy my paper rounds, especially at Christmas. Back in the 80s, at Christmas, you go knocking on the door at Christmas time and say, "Merry Christmas from your paper boy." I used to get ridiculous tips. Loved it. Yeah, I love my paper round in the morning. Absolutely loved it. And that's some nice little money back then. David Wilson is saying, cheers, Tom. Mosey Beers, yeah, sorry, Asahi owned Fuller's. I was getting mixed up with Green King with the Hong Kong conglomerate. Fair play. Jimmy Rushworth, Mark, did you ever pick up the beer I left you with James? Only Mark can't answer that question, so you might have to remind me to go back to that. Or I'll ask Mark to go back to that. Has Mark just appeared back? Because all I can see is comments. He's back. I've just been working through. I was having a chat about Fuller's. I was having a chat about a pub near me. There was a Fuller's pub. Gone through a couple of comments. We're up to Jimmy Rushworth 92 is asking you, did you ever pick up the beer he left for you with James?
No, that beer has been drunk and it's in the East Anglian sewers, I feel. Yeah, no, I didn't. But I do have your. I still do have your Hop City beer that I probably need to drink. Oh, it's still 20. Yeah, I need to do that one. It's been a hard slog trying to review hoppy beers because I just don't want to do them. It's just one of them things. But yeah, Mersey says Love Lane went into administration. No, because they were a Liverpool brewer, weren't they? They won't survive it. You do wonder. You do wonder. You look at the breweries, the kind of like the big boys that have gone, and a lot of them are breweries that like doubled down on the supermarket trade that never worked out.
Yeah,
just a little thing that I've noticed. People, especially people like Brewed by Numbers, Wild Beer, now Love Lane, Brick. I think Brick were in trouble a little while ago. Jack Bandit, hello mate, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Sid Cannon, evening. Oh, hello Sid, how you doing, mate? Thanks for coming in, mate. Thanks, Terrell. I've got a PD and beer monster machine. I think the grey disposable taps. I keep the grey disposable taps. I think they're about 50. Is the whole tap thing disposable? Is it?
No. On the PD, you get the tap, you get the whole block that clicks on. The only thing that's disposable is the beer line, and the beer line goes in the tap. If you watch some of Simon's reviews, he shows you the whole putting it all
Yeah,
together.
he opens it up and he talks about how he likes the fact that the line's all clean, and I do agree with that. That's one fantastic thing about the the PD over the beer monster, because I do have to like take all this apart and wash it all out in boiling water and stuff. But like I say, there's that trade-off where I can set the temperature. This was 100 quid. I think there's about 120 quid, these machines. I can set the temperature. I can buy my local brewery's beer. It's that trade-off, isn't it? It's the kind of convenience versus getting a bit hands-on. And I do have a hands-on job, and I'm not scared of that. Klaus Heitman says, 1.5 hours in, and my New England Vice beer is gone. Wow, it sounds like a bit of a jaunt, that, mate. A jaunt is like, it sounds like a bit of a slog. Just had about 3 pints left in the keg. Now it's brown ale. Mate, can you contact me on Instagram, Klaus, and just send me some photos, please? It's like at the Craft Beer Hub on Instagram. Il Corvo says, I bought some Icelandic white ale earlier. Very interesting. Is that the one from Marks and Spencer? Is it called like Einsbock or something? Or
there is an Einsbock.
Oh, yeah. It's like a 330 can, white 330 can. And I believe that's brewed with coriander seeds and orange peel, but I liked that. Very refreshing and less than £2 a can. 111 said, I've never had a pint of bitter down south on cast done right. No head and very flat. Yeah. Because north is like, there's a lot of thing of the north about sprinklers, isn't there? Which will encourage a good head and stuff like that. Do you think that's fair, Chris?
I've never had a pint of bitter down south on cask done right.
No, I mean, I have personally, but I used to live down south.
I've had lots of good bitters down south on cask. Done right. No head and very flat. No,
the one thing I will say that backs 111 up a little bit here is I think the north do cask better. And
maybe.
you know the one thing that's going to stop me, or probably going to put you in your stop you in your tracks. Fuller's pubs do cask blooming well, and if you live in and around London,
yeah, that's an interesting question. I've had lots of good bitters down south on cask. However, I have had a lot of bitters up north on cast that have been very, very good. I don't know which way to go on that question. Sorry.
I think it's quite loaded. I think if you live in the north and you come down south for a couple of casks and then go back, I think that's where this question or this statement comes in.
Yeah.
Having lived in the south, in Kent, one of the most southerly counties in the UK, I've had some fantastic cask stuff, but I do know what you mean. The north, I think, does more consistently good consistently good cask than the south does. So I think if you're a northerner coming down south and you're going to pick 2 or 3 random pubs, you probably would get a couple of dodgy ones.
I tell you the way I go on that question. The way I go on that question is if I'm going up north for a weekend break, holiday, whatever, as I start going up north, I do start looking when I go into a pubs for the bitter.
Yeah.
Because I know they're good bitters.
Yeah.
So down south, I've had some really good bitters, but when I go up north, if I go in a pub up north, I don't look for a lager. They're like, a decent. We're not talking macro lagers. I'm talking north crafty type brewery lagers. I start looking for bitters. So the more I go up north, the more I do look for bitter. So that's my slant on it.
I was at a pub. The last time I was like properly up north was like the most northerly I've been was Cumbria. It was about a year ago, and I can't remember. It was a local, one of those sort of like smaller to medium-sized local brewers that you just probably wouldn't get. Sort of, we were in Cumbria, like right up there near the Lake District, so you probably wouldn't get it south of like Birmingham, let's say. And I had a 3.7% bitter with a roast dinner, and it was like. It's almost like my roast beef arrived with like a Yorkshire the size of my head, and this pint of craft beer arrived with the foam doming out the top of the glass, and it was like I get it. This
Yeah.
all, whatever it is, it all makes sense now.
Yeah.
So I do understand. It's probably quite a good statement, that, to be fair, because I think it's probably made us have a little think. Octoberfest says Asahi are definitely less invasive than Heineken, AB, and the like. Yes. So speaking to someone that was linked, I'm not going to say names or breweries, but speaking to someone that was linked into Asahi or worked for a brewery that is linked into Asahi buy the breweries because they're successful breweries and run them as they were because they were successful. They don't go in like AB InBev and like rape and pillage everything, all the intellectual property, and like Heineken do. I mean, so I think AB InBev and Heineken for me you would notice a change in the beer at a consumer level if they got involved, but I don't think you would if Asahi got involved because Asahi have owned Fuller's now for the best part of probably 5 years, 4 years, something like that. And Fuller's beers are as good as they ever were. But yeah, you look at the other two kind of management umbrella companies, and that probably wouldn't happen, in my opinion. David Wilson says Fuller's Brewery Shop is okay. Has a bar in it as they closed the pub. Oh, that's a shame that they closed the pub. Is that on site in Chiswick?
The pub was next door. The pub was David Wilson, correct me, but you had Fuller's Brewery, and literally right next door to Fuller's Brewery was a Fuller's pub.
No
Is that
way.
the pub they closed? Oh, David Wilson, enlighten me, please. Tell me that pub right next door to Fuller's Brewery, that's been closed.
Is this on the A3 or the A4 or the A40 or whatever it is? I remember going into London to work a lot, and you drive up past the Fuller's Brewery up to that big roundabout that always had traffic.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Alan Mead, how you doing, mate? Irish craft beer guy, Alan Mead. Evening all, happy Friday. Painting the bedroom the last few days, and carpet arrives today. Finished it off nicely. A few. Well, yeah. Good for you, mate. Good for you. A few well-deserved beers now. Good for you, mate. Mate, painting is an absolute... I don't know how they do it for a living, honestly. I really, really don't. Got admiration for them. Jimmy Rushworth says, if you haven't done the Fuller's Brewery tour at Griffin and then get boozed up on the on-site pub, it's really class. A must do in London. It's kind of like the beer drinkers version of Tower Bridge. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Fuller's, they are a class act. You can't deny that. You cannot deny that. They are. Alan Meters, hi to David. David says to Alan. I'm great, mate. Thank you. Einstock,
that's the one.
That's the one.
Einstock Icelandic.
That is the one. Jimmy says, Einstock, mate, all over the bloody place in Reykjavik. Can't move for the stuff. What, mate? That wheat beer or white beer they did with, like I say, orange. I believe it was orange peel and coriander seeds. It was all right. Really, really refreshing. That Icelandic water, there was something like so fresh, and it was like, it's hard to describe, Chris. I don't know if you found this, but when I drank that beer, it was almost like I drank the beer at room temperature, but the water felt colder than it was.
Yeah,
because it was
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Is that a weird thing to say?
No, I know exactly what you mean.
I remember drinking it well over a year ago as well, so it's a very memorable drinking experience. But yeah, you can tell. Il Corvo says, I'm quite enjoying it. Yeah, mate, it's a good beer. Like, I think if you're looking at certain countries that would have the most pure water profile, I think Iceland probably has to be up there.
It's got to be right up there, haven't they?
It's got to be. It's got to be. Disco says, in general, I try not to generalise. I've had good and bad cask beers up north and down south. I'm south with northern sensibilities. That's kind of where I am, mate. You probably couldn't have worded better myself. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, it's a fair comment, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm a southerner. You know, I grew up in London. That's why I'm a London boy. That's where I grew up. But I love up north. And in
Take me on a trip, I'd like to go somewhere.
Damn straight, brother. I used to work for HSBC Bank, and I was a trainer for them. I used to train all their staff in call centres, etc. And one of their calls, they had a number of call centres across the country, so I was always travelling around the country, which was great. They had call centres in Southampton, Hemel Hempstead, Leeds, and Edinburgh. And I loved every time I knew I was getting a Leeds gig. If I got told, Chris, you need to go up to Leeds, I used to stay in the most amazing hotel called the Queen's Hotel in Leeds city centre for 4 weeks. And I love Leeds. And that's when I really started falling in love with the North and the people of the North. I loved them. Leeds, I just loved. So every time we'd look at the timetables of what was coming up, Edinburgh was always great as well. But every time, if
I've never done Scotland.
Oh, man, you need to.
No, I know.
But every time the timetables came out, even though I lived in Hemel Hempstead at the time and we had a call centre in Hemel Hempstead, I was putting down for Leeds because I loved going up to Leeds. I loved the people in Leeds. The beer in Leeds was always good. So I'll always have a huge affinity to Leeds. Loved it. And every time I go up north, I do look for bitters. I look for anything associated with Leeds. They were great times in my life. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, I may be a southerner. I'm not just a southerner, I'm a Londoner. But I love the North. Absolutely love the North.
There we go. And I don't really have a transition for that because the beer I'm drinking was brewed very much down south. But Jimmy Rushworth bought me a can. Bought me many cans actually. I say bought me, gave me. When we, if anyone remembers the camping video with Tommy, the crummy beard, yeah, Jimmy met us down there and he gave me some Wild Beer Co beers. One of them was Under the Sun, which I've had before. Probably the best for me, the best session IPA to ever hit the supermarket.
What beer is that?
It's called Wild. It's from Wild Beer Co. Under the Sun. It's called.
Yeah, see, I never got on with wild beer.
I was always not bothered about it, if I'm honest.
No.
And I ended up. It was last year. Obviously, you came the day after, but last year's GBBF. I went over there with Simon. And we had a chat with them, and they were like, "This is the beer that's coming out," and it was kind of like the launch time for this beer before it went to the supermarket. And I remember trying it, thinking, "Blooming heck, like this is pretty good for a session IPA." And I hate session IPA style. I just find it neither here nor there. I think it's so hit and miss, and it just stuck in my memory at that point. And if you watch the video back, if anyone wants to go and watch the video, it would have been probably over a year ago, just over. I've done like a beer tasting with Craig from Kent Beer Reviews. Yeah. Shout out to you, Craig, by the way, mate. Thinking of you, dude, because I know you've been struggling a little bit recently. And it was just like blooming heck, like session IPAs, like blooming heck. And it was mental because after that, like Wild Beer Co. had a massive stand there, and then the next thing you know, they've popped and they've had all their intellectual property been bought by Curious Brew Co., which are down near my old manor, down in Ashford in Kent. But yeah. Good beer, that. And thanks, Jimmy, for the beer, mate. I'm just enjoying it right now. Gaz Bowden, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a little while. Evening, chaps. Just poured my last bottle of Budvar Dark in the beautiful Budvar tankard. Actually, mate, not your last bottle because it's just gone back into Lidl as of maybe today or yesterday. Looking forward to trying the new Fuller's Vintage Ale. Oh, see, it's a video I've been thinking about. I've got a 2021 version here. Do I do it?
Do it. Do you know, as much as I love Fuller's, and I said this in our group chat the other day, I'm sure I said it in our group chat the other day, as much as I love Fuller's, I love a good traditional ale, I've never had a Fuller's vintage beer.
I don't think I've ever had one. I need to just give my little daughter a kiss goodnight. 1 second.
Give her a kiss goodnight. Yeah, I don't know how. As much as I love Fuller's, I don't know how I've never had a Fuller's vintage. Bye-bye.
Oh, bless her.
Mwah. You blow kiss. You go bedtime.
Can you blow kisses?
Blow kiss. Mwah.
Go on, blow a kissy.
Go on. Move the hand away from the face. And that's a kiss. Go on.
Can you blow it? Mwah. Mwah. No night.
No night.
Oh, bless her heart.
Oh, mwah. So cute.
It's awesome. I love it. Yeah. Where were we? Vintage
I
ale.
don't know. How can you top
Have
that?
you got any? Have you got any boxed vintage ales that have been from the past, Chris?
I do have a vintage beer in a box.
You're going to
And
bring
you
out the
know what it
Schlenkerla
is.
one. Yeah, I know you are.
I do.
You know
have
what?
bad
This
boy.
is legit. I'm not taking the piss out of him. I'm genuinely envious of Chris for having this, by the way.
A vintage Schlenkerla. I love Schlenkerla beers. If you follow my channel, you will see just how much I absolutely love Schlenkerla. So this is a 2019. I don't know when to review this. I don't know how long to hold on to this for.
Do it now, mate.
No, I'm not doing it now. There's no way.
No,
I'm
no,
doing
no,
it
not
now.
right now, but like do it sort of.
Yeah, I don't know. Do I wait? When do you wait? Because I don't know. It's difficult because Schlenkerla are just one of those beers or breweries that I just hold in such high regard, and I just think, when is there the right moment to review that?
What is the ABV on it, Chris?
Sorry.
What's the ABV, please?
It's not big ABV. I've got to get it out of the box to tell you. And the other thing I love, I'm just an absolute Schlenkerla pervert, but it also has this lovely foil wrap, which none of them have.
And the purple border on the label as well.
Absolutely, and it's 5.5%.
So it's not going to protect itself.
No, and that's the problem. But they say it's a vintage from 2019, but this label on the back is even kind of stained. It doesn't look fresh. Nothing about it looks clean and fresh. It looks vintage. So I just don't know when's the right moment.
I would say tomorrow. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you why I say that. The weather's just turned. That kind of smoky, rich thing. It's kind of, we're in there, aren't we? We're into the rich season now.
Yeah. And you know what I'm doing tomorrow? You know exactly what I'm doing tomorrow.
Do I?
Yeah.
Was it on the group chat?
Ah, hell boy. Yep.
Oh,
what have I been tending to most of the late afternoon?
Oh, I did see this actually. I caught the last of this. There's a bit of meat on there, isn't there?
There's a lot of meat. I'm doing some low and slow barbecue cooking tomorrow, and that has got to lend itself to it.
I'll tell you what. If we're talking low and slow, and I don't often get to do this because it's a bit of an investment, and we've had a lot of things trip us up financially over the past 6 months. Like my dad having a stroke, and me having to have 3 weeks off of work. Then our car blew up recently. That's $4,000 down the drain. I'd love to have some sort of smoking facility, but it's a luxury that can wait. But I am going to redo, and it's something I've spoken about a little bit on the channel, and some people might remember me talking about this, but there's a style of pork called Schweinbraten or Brauten. And Schwein is pig, Brauten is broiled. So it's basically grilled pork is the direct translation. But basically what you do is you buy a pork joint with a big fat and skin cap on top. And then you basically drown it in dunkel lager.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it sits on top of thick cut root vegetables. So you're sort of talking your turnips, your Swedes, your potatoes, your carrots. And then what you do, you keep feeding it every 2 or 3 hours, feed it more dunkel.
Yeah.
And then what happens is you end up with this like essentially kind of vapored steam roasted pork joint underneath.
Done it.
And then oh mate, what a thing that is. And we do this thing amongst our friends called Come Dine With Me. So it only happened like the other day, just by chance. We got invited round and there was like loads of people. And it was like, we should turn this into a Come Dine With Me. So our thing is next. And I'm going to do Octoberfest because it should have actually been last weekend, but we had issues with the cars and like just stress off the charts. So Schweinbrauten's getting made. And I'm going to make a YouTube video. And if it turns out half as good as what it turned out last time,
Oh, mate, you've got to do it. There's so many times I've thought about doing videos of what I do on a barbecue.
Mate, you should do,
and I
because
have.
your barbecue skills are mental.
They are pretty good. And I've done loads of things like what you've just said, where I've indirectly cooked on a barbecue huge joints of pork, pork shoulders, I do lamb, anything, any type of meat. And underneath it is just, underneath the meat, because you do indirect, so if the hot coals all over one side, and the other side, you can just put a pan next to it, full of whatever liquid you want, be it a dunkel beer. Quite often I use beers. And as it's slowly cooking, those vapors coming off that beer just penetrate the meat and make your meat so moist. It is unreal. It's unreal. I love it. I love it. And as you saw in the group chat, there's a lot of meat going on my barbecues tomorrow. And
It's true. He is not. I can say he's not mucking about. He is not mucking about.
On our group chat, no one ever see it other than who's in our group chat. The amount of videos I do of.
Sorry, mate. 1 second. 1 second. Sorry.
What's he doing? But yeah, on our group chat that I'm in with Mark and a few others, the amount of times I put videos of my barbecue cooking that I do is, I've got rotisseries, and I don't do gas. I don't do gas barbecues. It's all charcoal. I do low and slow brisket, pork bellies, where I get 6-7 hours out of a load of coal. It can be done, easily done. So yeah, and tomorrow I'm doing exactly that. So tonight or this afternoon, after a busy day this afternoon when I got in, I started preparing, putting all the rubs on. I make all my own rubs. I barely ever buy packet rubs. Always make my own rubs. And I've been marinating and rubbing everyone loves to rub their meat. Rubbing the meat, getting all the rubs on, getting them in the fridge overnight so all those flavours start absorbing it into the meat. And I so often use beer underneath the meat in the barbecue to really penetrate, add moisture. But I love it. So should I do videos on it? You tell me in the comments. Should I do videos on that? I don't know. If people want to see it, I'll do it. I'll absolutely do it. My daughter's in the doorway. Just say it, Leah. Has who eaten?
He.
No, the cats have not been fed.
You haven't fed them?
No, I haven't fed the cats. You feed the cats. Put him down.
He loves it.
He doesn't love it. He doesn't love it. Look at him.
He loves it.
He's not enjoying
He
it.
loves it.
Yeah, okay, bye now. If people want to do it, I'll do it. But I don't know. Because I'm not good at doing videos in terms of editing and everything else. So that's why I probably really haven't. It's because I just don't really do video editing to try and show the prep, what I do with a barbecue to prep that, prepping the meat. For me, it just seems quite an arseache to do in terms of putting a video together. Anyway, let's have a look at some comments because Mark's disappeared. So we're at Gasboden Evening Chaps comment. So let me scroll down until I find it. So you probably might see my big finger on the screen. I don't know. Are we really that far behind? Because I'm nowhere near that comment. Where is that comment? No, we can't be that. Are we that far behind? Because when I scroll, oh, there it is. Well, we are quite far behind. 1E11. I live in York, and the quality of bitter is generally very good. I agree. I'd love a pint of ESB on cask done well. A pint of ESB done well on cask is outstanding. 1E11, absolutely. Nabil, I've only found cask beer in Wetherspoons in Dublin. The quality is variable. Yeah, it probably is quite variable in Dublin, to be fair. David Wilson, they closed the one on the corner. That's the one on the corner. They've closed it. That's a shame. That really is. Travis Wilson, how are you, Trav? Evening, Mr. Jury and Chris, currently in transit to Melbourne for a 300 mm dual tappings on live water mains. Hey, Chris, new mate, have They ran out of razors. Yeah, they've absolutely run out of razors in the UK, Trav. They're all gone, mate. They are all gone. Beard time. Rasco and Disco, I wasn't even sure the other one was open at David Wilson, but didn't get a chance to check the other week. Didn't even get into the shop. David Wilson saying hi to Trav. Sergio Martin, never seen your name before, Sergio, but then this isn't my channel. Nice to see you, Sergio. Hope you're doing well, mate. Irish Craft Beer, Alamede, Ledge. I've got Hawkstone Lager on the PD Pro this evening. I don't think I've had the Hawkstone Lager. Have I? Have I reviewed it? I can't remember. I know I reviewed it in a bottle. And when I was in a Bargain Booze near me, sell PD kegs, and I did look at the Hawkstone Lager. I was tempted. How is it? How is it, Alamede? Tell me. Travis is saying, cheers, buddy, to David Wilson. Il Corvo, that Hawkstone and PD isn't bad. I need to give it a try, really. David Durrell, White Locks. I'm not sure what that means. David Wilson, Shane Disco got a vintage and the Coronation beer. Very nice. Jimmy Rushworth, 92. Wild beer stuff is better since they've come back, I think. Got 24 cans from a sister-in-law for my birthday. And honestly, surprisingly good. That's all good, isn't it? That is all good, Jimmy Rushworth. Well, I've never been a fan of wild beer. Never been a fan. But getting 24 cans from your sister-in-law, that sounds amazing. So well done you. David Wilson, tried the vintage there. Might pick a bottle up locally. My local might have a cast of vintage 23 from Rasco and Disco. Fingers crossed in Rasco. David Wilson, Chris sorted out this year. You're right. I do need to get on a vintage ale this year. I can't believe I never have, David. I don't know why. I mean, I think, aren't they mostly sold in Waitrose, the Fuller's Vintage? And there is a Waitrose near me, but it's a bit of a fact to get to. It's not far. It's literally 5 miles down the road, but it's just parking is a nightmare. Perhaps I should just go on Fuller's website and order them on there. But I do need to sort it out, David. You're absolutely right. Because I love Fuller's, so I should get a vintage out. Travis is saying, Bubba's grown up, buddy. So cute. Guess we're talking Mark's Little. Rasco and Disco is saying, I don't think I've ever tried a vintage till this year either. Oh, that's interesting. I thought you probably would have had a few of those over the years, Rasco. So that's interesting that you are the same as me. But I'm not much a Fuller's fan generally. Interesting comment. I think Fuller's just make great beers. You know, some of them are blow your mind beers with Fuller's. They're just good beers. They're just well-made beers. They're just quality beers. Yeah, there's other beers that are better. You know, the Fuller's ESB is a great beer, but I've had better ESBs. But it's the consistency with Fuller's that I love. Absolute consistency. All the time. Excuse me. Il Corvo. Oh, is that the Rausch beer? It's banging. That is a... It is a Rausch beer, but it's their Fasten beer version of it. David Wilson is saying, Chris, perhaps drink to see in the new year. Ooh, well, that's a good shout, David. That is a good shout. Yeah, I just struggle as to when to review that. There's so many times that I come in from work. I've had a busy day. It's been a stressful day. And I come in and I'll assist with cooking dinner, chat with the family, and then I come up and sit here up in my pub shed. And I just wanted a really good beer. I just want to sit here and chill out with just one really good beer. And I've generally got good beers in. But every time I look at that Shenkurla, I think now's not the time. Now's not the time. Somehow, somewhere, in some time, it's going to be the right time. But I just love them. I love Shenkurla beers. They're just, yeah, they're just so different. So there is going to be that time where I just come in here and just think, I've got to have that. But at the moment, I'm not getting that vibe. So it could sit here for a long time. But 5.5%, how long can that really last? I'm not entirely sure. But it claims to be a vintage from 2019. It'll come. It'll happen. It will happen. Big Kev is saying, hi everyone, what are we drinking tonight, everybody? What are we all drinking? I am currently on a Fuller's ESB. What are you drinking, Big Kev? Yeah, maybe. As David Wilson says, drink it in the new year. Start with a good one. Could be the one, couldn't it? Absolutely could be the one. And the bill is saying God, my eyesight's going bad. Hofbrau House, Traunstein, Fürsten Trunkier. That sounds amazing, Bill. That sounds like a great beer. Tell me about it. Big Kev is saying, hey Dave. Travis Wilson is always saying hi to Irish Beer Guy. Square Table Generous, how are you, mate? I typed in sexiest live streams right now, and this was midway through the third page. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Alan Mead is saying, defo put those barbecue vids up, Chris. Thank you very much for saying that, Alan, because there's so many times I've wanted to. So many times. I think I have done a YouTube short of some of my rotisserie chickens. I don't know. I don't know what overly stops me doing it, because I'm not blowing my own trumpet. I know I'm fairly decent at doing barbecue food. I don't know, but something just stops me doing it. I don't know why. Perhaps I should. I will. I'll do it, Alan Mead. I will do it. Will I start tomorrow? I probably won't, because I've got a few people coming over tomorrow, so it wouldn't be ideal to start filming with other people around, but I'll do it. I'll get it done. I'll tell you what I do want to do, Alan Mead, and to everybody else that's watching. I want to do the Christmas turkey over the barbecue on the rotisserie. I think that would be amazing. And I've told the family this year, I said, I'm going to put the turkey on the barbecue. I'm going to do it on the rotisserie over charcoal. I think that'd be stunning. Absolutely stunning. That might be my first barbecue video I ever do. Might be the Christmas turkey on the rotisserie. It's got to be done, isn't it? It's got to be done, surely. I bet there's hundreds of people on YouTube that have done a rotisserie Christmas turkey on the barbecue. I bet there is. I can see a slight shadow behind. So has Mark appeared again? Let's have a look. Has Mark appeared? Is he back? He is back. But he's not talking. Oh, he's on the phone, isn't he? Let me go back to the chat. Now I don't know where I was in the chat or the comments. He's on the phone, isn't he? Oh, what was the last comment? Look, I'm really sorry if I've missed a load of comments because I thought Mark was back. I'm going to try and scroll back. Whose live is this meant to be? I thought this was Mark's live. I'm going back. Oh, but I can't see any comments. This is shit, isn't it? What a shit live this is. Film some blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah. Oh, there's Alan Mead's comment. Defo put those barbecue videos up, Chris. I'm going to do it, Alan Mead. I'm doing it. I'm going to do it. Rasco and Disco is saying, just went up to page 2 following your arrival. Joey, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Trail bottles, I mean, vintage ale, blah, blah, blah. Lots of people saying hello to each other. We don't need to do all those, do we? Sounds good just talking about it, Chris. Film some. I should. I'm going to do it, David Wilson. I'm going to do it, Alan Mead. I am going to film some barbecue cooking. My dad, Big Kev says, my dad does a stellar artois chicken in the barbecue. Absolutely. A beer can chicken. Maybe you're talking about beer can chicken. I've done lots of beer can chicken. So you get a chicken, shove a beer can up the biggest entrance of the chicken. What I do is, I used to do it a lot with beer, whereas I just leave the beer in the chicken and I'd put holes in the side of the can. But I used to drink the beer, fill it with water, not fill the can with water, fill it halfway, and then from halfway point above, put holes in the can, put the chicken over the top. But then in the water, I'd put lots of herbs and spices and everything else. So then that can has got the main can hole at the top.
Chris, I'm so sorry,
mate. Hole in the side. Don't worry, mate. I'm just explaining beer can chicken, so you can shut up for now.
I love beer can chicken.
Yeah. So I'd put all those herbs and spices in the can, with half filled of water. Above the halfway line, put holes in the can. All those herbs and spices would just start heating in that water, and all that steam would come out and just start going into the chicken, penetrating the chicken. And that would be some of the most moist, beautiful flavoured chicken you've ever had. If you've never done a beer can chicken, doesn't have to be beer in the can. Now all I have to do is drink the beer, put water in the can, fill it with herbs and spices, and let that just absorb into the meat. It's the best chicken you will ever have on a barbecue. It is outstanding.
Beer can chicken for me is, it's almost got all the benefits of slow roast chicken, but you get that kind of like, because it's high heat, isn't it? So you get that like crispy chicken outside that you can't normally balance the two if you don't do one or the other. You can't, you know.
It's superb. It's the best thing. I'm going to do a video. Sod it, people. I will do a video, mate. Got to
do it.
I will do.
And do it with beer, so it links into your beer channel. Sorted.
I'll do it. I'll do it. You're going out on the town, are you, son?
I'm going out.
Hey, up. Let's have a look then. What's it looking like?
No, I've not got spare vape going there.
Because mine's about to run out. Let me just go back on to chat. Get rid of that. He's going out on the town.
Out on town like that?
I know.
I've got what? I'm 35 and I feel fucking 70. What's going on here?
I've had these conversations with him about going out and looking fresh and crisp.
Mate, I used to wear like a Tommy Hilfiger tight fit jumper and like a Peter Smith button up shirt.
Mate, when I used to go out clubbing, you couldn't get into a nightclub unless you had trousers and shoes on.
Yeah, they'd look at your shoes and be like, nah.
He goes out looking like that. I've got jeans on. That's all that matters. That's all that matters these days. What's gone wrong in the world when there's no standards anymore? No wonder you pull rotters. No wonder you pull rotters when that's the standard of dress. What's the matter with you? You might as well leave me out. Get another on the way out. Look at the way he talks to me. This is the way the youth talk to adults.
You make me talk like this to you.
He's like, mate, he's like, you wind me up like this.
It's disgusting. Leave me that.
No.
You're going to walk past the shop.
Yeah, I'm not walking past one that sells these. Like,
You don't need
right. Tomorrow, I'll go and get you one in the morning.
I want one right now.
No, you can suck my cock if you want one right now.
Nathan, we're live on YouTube. You can't say things like that.
Oh, I'm sorry. For the 12-year-olds that you're watching.
Get out.
Fine.
Get out.
Only because I'm going out.
Get out. And you haven't dealt with that hair on the end of your nose.
There isn't one.
It's still there, son.
There isn't one.
It's still there. It's still there, you gimp.
There isn't one.
It's still there.
There isn't one. There's these ones that are in my nose. There isn't ones on the tip of my nose.
There is, son.
There is.
Go away. Bye.
Bye. Love you.
Love you.
This is called keeping up the Kardashians.
Yeah, the Kardashians. Loving that.
It's true.
19-year-old kids.
Did you address comments, mate? Or were you just chatting?
I addressed quite a lot of comments. So I don't know where we got up to, though.
How did you get down to? 111 says, I live in New York and quality of beer is generally very good. I love a pint of VS. Oh, sorry, I live in York.
Done.
Quality of beer is generally very good. It's gonna be. It's gonna be. Done. If you serve a bad pint of cask beer up there, you get lynched. I love a pint of ESB on cask done well. I don't think there's a better beer on cask than the ESB done well.
It's great beer.
Nabil, hello, mate. Not seen you before. I've only found cask in beer and Wetherspoons in Dublin. The quality is variable. Yeah, I think for me, the glory in the Wetherspoons cask, and generally I get quite a good pint of cask beer at Wetherspoons. I think they just pump so much of it through. So it's never sitting for 2 or 3 days, oxidizing in the cask or whatever.
Well,
is that true,
Mark's
Chris?
going through the same comments I've gone through. I'm going.
Oh no, sorry, mate.
No, you go through them again because you might add a different point of view.
Fuller's ESB, that is 111. Dave, are they close to one in the corner leading down to the shop? Oh, that was the one. That was the Fuller's pub. Trav, how you doing, mate? Even Mr. Drew and Chris currently in transit to Melbourne for a 300mm dual tap-ins on live water main. Hey, I hope it's warm out there, mate, because that's going to go everywhere. Hey, Chris, new look, mate. Have they run out of razors? Love that, Trav. Disco says, I wasn't even sure the other one was open, David Wilson, but didn't get a chance to check the other week. Didn't get in the shop. That's fair. David says, hi, Trav Wilson. Sergio Martin, hello, everybody. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for coming in. Hello, everybody. Hello to you, Sergio Martin. Alan says, I've got the Hawkstone Lager on the PD Pro this evening, mate. Good beer. I'll tell you what, you can. Yeah, I know the guy Jeremy Clarkson behind it, or sort of in front of it, seems to be quite divisive. But Hawkstone Lager's a good beer, and on the PD it'd be sensational. Trevor Wilson says, Dave Wilson, cheer, buddy. Or Corvo, that Hawkstone PD isn't bad. I agree. I've never had actually. For transparency, I've never had it on the PD. Bottled, it was all right. I've seen it on draft somewhere, but yeah, not really somewhere I've been. White Locks, probably, yeah, we're all getting old, mate. The Alan Meters, hi, Trav. Dave Wilson says, Shame Disco got a vintage and coronation beer. During Russia, 92 says, Wild beer stuff is better since they come back, I think. Got 24 cans of sister-in-law. Surprisingly good. I don't know where it's brewed now. I'd be interested to know whether it's still brewed down, because it was West Country, wasn't it, somewhere? Someone let me know, please. Disco says, David Wilson, try the vintage there. Might pick up a bottle locally. My local might have a cask vintage 23. Ooh, look at that. Just rifling through some comments, Chris. Fingers crossed they do, Disco. Chris, sort it out this year. I'm not entirely sure what that was.
We're talking about me doing barbecue videos.
Oh, mate, you need to, because honestly, the group chat, honestly, we get to like Wednesday and it's all manner of like ridiculous butcher's meat ends up on the thing. It's annoying because yeah, trust me, when you don't have these cooking facilities, it's annoying. Travis Wilson's Bubba's grown up, buddy, so cute. Yeah, mate, she's honestly just the best. The best. Disco says, I don't think I've ever tried a vintage ale still here either, but I'm not that much of a Fuller's fan generally. Disco, you live near London, mate. I thought you'd be all over it. I really thought you would be. Octoberfest says, oh, is that a Rausch beer? It's banging. It's not any old Rausch beer. It's the Schlenkerla Reserve, Chris.
Schlenkerla Rausch beer, Fasten beer vintage.
There we go. Literally said in the dialect of where it's brewed. Jimmy Rushworth. Oh, a Schlenkerla bacon beer. I love it. One in the cupboard downstairs. It is bacon beer.
It is such a bacon beer.
But as a bloke, is there anything better than bacon and beer? Probably two of the best things that ever hit our lives, really. Dave Wilson says, Chris, perhaps drink it to see it in the new year. That's a good shout. New year would be a good time.
It is a good shout.
Big Kev, hi everyone. What are we drinking tonight? I'll tell you what, I've had a couple of really good Helles lagers from a brewery called Brewpoint.
Brewpoint in Bedford?
Yes, they were. Was it sort of like something like Rumsey Wells or?
Yeah, they're in Bedford. They've got a huge pub in Bedford, Brewpoint, and they apparently have not long. There's a rugby club in Bedford called the Bedford Blues. And in the Bedford Blues bar, didn't really have a stout. So there was a lot of fans, people that drank Guinness, that were going into the Bedford Blues bar and saying, why haven't you really got Guinness? Why haven't you got a stout? So they went to Brewpoint, who are, in Bedford. And Brewpoint have allegedly produced a stout that is another Guinness rival. And they've called it not Genius or Genesis or something, and it's black and gold. It's 4.1%. It does the typical cascade. I need to get there because it's only 40 minutes away from me, Bedford, and I need to get up there and have a little go on that. So yeah, Brewpoint, yeah, they're all right. Brewpoint.
I think these guys had a brewery that sold out to Marston's.
Might have done.
It was called like something like Kenneth Wells or I don't know.
Charles Wells.
Who?
Charles Wells.
That's it. So they used to own, that family used to own Charles Wells. They sold it to Marston's, as I understand, and then they restarted Brewpoint.
That's exactly right. You're spot on. Absolutely spot on.
There we go. And Adnams, I know a lot of people have issues with Adnams. I think it's probably people geographically further away from Southwold. which is obviously a bit of an issue because they're on the east, they're one of the most easterly breweries in the UK. Adnams take their beer seriously. Seriously. Like their beer is serious, like to the point where they're brewing beers with Verdant. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not mucking about. And if they're going to get involved with the brewery, and I brought this from Adnams, so I think they're sort of like favouring each other a little bit. Like you sell a bit of ours, you know, bit of a back scratchy exercise as far as I can see it. They're going to be decent, and they are. Dave Wilson says, Chris, perhaps drinking. Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. Hi, Big Kev says, David. Nabil says, Hofbrauhaus, Traunstein, Fürsten Trunk. What?
That sounds incredible, doesn't it?
Flipping heck.
Sounds incredible.
Just in terms of the amount of letters used, I mean, whoa, is that a beer?
Take me half hour to type that.
Nabil, is that a beer, mate? That sounds incredible. I'm just anything Hofbrau. I'm in. Dave Wilson says hello to David. Travis says hello to Alan. Joey's in. How you doing, mate? I thought sexiest stream. Yeah, that's because Crummy left. Would have been top, but he left earlier. Alan says, "Defo put those barbecue vids up, Chris." I agree. Food is so popular, and Chris is an amateur barbecue master. I can tell you that. Disco says, "Just went up to page 2 following your arrival, Joey." Was that me? Was that me? I think it's me. He's commenting now. David says, "Hi, Joey." Oh, David Ross says 12 bottles. Of vintage ale. Is that what you bought? You absolute legend. That would cost you an arm and a leg.
Great.
Hey, Disco, brother David. David says, "Sounds good. Just talking about it, Chris. Film some."
I will. I'll do it.
I agree.
I will do it.
He needs to. Big Kev says, "My dad does a Stella Artois chicken in the barbecue." Probably the same thing.
Yeah.
Probably the same thing. Joey says, "Editing is so much work, lol." Yeah, that's why I do my videos in one take.
One take. This is what I was saying. Why you doing whatever you're doing? This is one of the main reasons.
Yeah. Sorry, mate.
I haven't done food videos because food videos are going to take a little bit of editing.
They are.
I just do one take stuff. So I think for me, I'm just not into editing, and that's probably the biggest reason why I haven't done any food videos, because that's going to take some editing.
Sounds like a live. Imagine a live on that. People will watch. Joey says, "We call this a counter box. You left the chat far behind." I know. I'm sorry. I was on the phone earlier. I do apologise. Chris, thank you for holding the fort for me. David Ross says, 111. I'm in York a lot of the time. I go to the Bluebell in town and the Fox and Holgate close to my town. Mate, York. Some of the beers. Oh. Down Shambles Market, there's a pub. It was like Harry Potter's local. It was mental. What a place that is. It's in my video. Alameda says Hawkstone's decent. Almost reminds me of a farmhouse ale. It's definitely got a bit of sort of spice and a bit of spritz about it, and it's a bit more pokey than other lagers, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, it is. I don't think I've had it on PD. I know Hawkstone is available on the PD, and I looked at it again today. I looked at it. I was in Bargain Booze, who stock PD keg, and I looked at the Hawkstone and thought, "Shall I have it? Shall I have it?" No, I'll take the Spartan Oktoberfest, but I'll get a keg. I will get a keg of it.
The right decision for that time, I think, Chris, mate. Dave Wood says, "I rate Tro's Booths in North." Booths is a bottle shop that serves all of the other supermarket stuff. It's mental. Booths is incredible. Yeah, where can we buy the Fuller's Vintage? I think Booths will do it. Waitrose is normally the one. Marks and Spencers, I don't think do it. I don't think they're that bothered about their beer. But certainly,
Spencers don't.
Certainly,
Waitrose.
Waitrose.
Waitrose or Booths.
Yeah. Yeah, really good beer supermarkets. Gaz Bowden, I previously had a Fuller's Vintage Stout. Hello,
Wow.
Gaz.
Really?
It's not one on my radar, mate. Yeah, bloody hell. 111 says David Durrell, live just up the road from live just up the road from them. Is that about Fuller's? Big Kev, what's everyone's favourite recent supermarket beer release? I won't buy unless I hear good reviews. Mate, honestly, the recent releases have been... Right, I'm going to have 15 seconds to have a wee and think about this. Chris, what's your best recent release?
Cool. That's a difficult question. That's difficult. One, because I haven't had every single recent supermarket beer release. I've got a few of them. I've got a few of them in. I did have one the other day. Was it yesterday? I've got the can here. I think this was out of Sainsbury's. They've all dropped so many different ones. This was a Polly's, the Infifold Indian Pale Ale. Was that in Sainsbury's? Someone tell me. I can't remember. I didn't rate that. I didn't think that was very good. And Polly's are pretty outstanding, but for a supermarket Polly's, I didn't rate that at all. I thought that was quite poor. But I know your question is, what's the best? This could be quite surprising. I've had the Wiper and True Espresso Martini Stout. I had that 2 nights ago, and I reviewed it, but I haven't put the review out of that. All that reminded me of was the BrewDog grind. So much so, in my review that I haven't uploaded, I said I'm going to the BrewDog grind and the Wiper and True Espresso Martini Stout are so close, they should be a side-by-side video. So today I went out and bought BrewDog grind again, and I bought the Wiper and True Espresso Martini Stout again, and I'm going to do a side-by-side. So I really like, I know I've bashed BrewDog. We've had this conversation earlier on in the evening, but a recent supermarket beer drop, I really like that BrewDog grind. I thought it was very good. That Wiper and True Espresso Martini Stout I thought also was good, so I bought them both, and I'm going to review them side by side. But yeah, that's about where I am with the recent supermarket beers. I've got loads. I've got loads in my fridge, just down here, but I haven't tried them, so it's difficult for me to answer that question in its entirety. Turn your mic on.
Cheers, mate. I'm on the same page as you. I haven't had all of them. I know there's been some really good stuff. Even tonight, someone said 2 new beers into Tesco's from Brew by Numbers, which should be pretty good. You'd hope. I've not had a lot. I've had 6 of the new beers. All the ones into Morrison's were terrible. And that's the Idaho 7 Double Dry Hop Pale by Siren and the Shipwrecked Pina Colada from Northern Monk, the Faith in Futures from Northern Monk, and their Stout was bang average.
Bang average.
Bang average. I went into Tesco's, so that's 4 of the 6 that I've had. I went to Tesco's and had 2. And I think the one that left the biggest impression on me, and I'm not saying it, is this.
Yeah, there you go.
The BrewDog Wingman.
I mean, where are we at? Where are we at when I've said it? I've just literally said it. You're now saying it when we're back to BrewDog, knocking out potentially.
It's mental.
I know it's wrong. Is it mental?
I'm not going to stand here and say Wingman is a faultless beer. I'm not going to stand here and say Wingman is even a good beer in the grand scheme of craft beer. But in terms of supermarket releases that I've tried, because I've only had 6, like I say, I haven't had the Sainsbury's stuff, because there was a couple there that looked good, like the Brew by Numbers Mocha Porter looked or sounded amazing. Yeah. But from the ones I've had, from Morrison's that I named and the BrewDog ones that I named, the BrewDog Wingman is probably like stuck a smile on my face more than most. Yeah. So it's mental, but that's kind of what it is.
Where we're at.
111 is mental. What is this parallel universe that we live in? 111 said the Fox. Dave Wilson with a link to buy the Fuller's Vintage Ale. There we go. Gaz Bowden says, I've previously had a Fuller's Vintage Stout, Porter, and Ale. All very good. Mate, I've never had a Vintage Stout. I've never had a Vintage Porter. Be quite interesting, those, actually. Trav says, Chris, I've had a Fuller's Vintage Ale. Lovely stuff. I also sent Simon some Cooper's Vintage Ale from Australia, and Simon actually thought the Cooper's was better than the Fuller's.
Oh, man. I need to try that then.
Wow.
I
Wow.
need that in my life.
Quite incredible. Gaz said I had my first bottle of Schlenkerla Marzen last week. I wasn't sure to what to expect, but I admit it was just delicious. I'll tell you what Schlenkerla is. It's kind of like one of those virginity beers where you're kind of like scared to try it. You try it, it feels a bit weird, but you like it, and you go in again, you can't stop. Kind of like something else. Alameda says Christmas turkey would be amazing on the rotisserie. So moist and tasty, I'd say. Yeah, it would be. And Chris has got that facility as well.
I'm putting the Christmas turkey. I'm doing it,
mate. It's a shout. It's a shout. I saw you mention it earlier. I was like, yeah, it's a shout. 111 says drink too much Osset White Rat in the Fox. Osset White Rat is one of the best cask pale beers I've ever had in my life, and I had it 4 weeks ago in Bradford at the Salt Beer Factory. What a beer! Mental.
No.
David Ross says, I guess if you have a duck, then stick half a Fanta up it. No, don't make me swear, David. I have to say, I never talked to my dad like that. Well, yeah. Chris Big Kev says, is this a repeat? Could be a repeat of last week's stream, to be fair. I was fairly well oiled. Paul Alford, how you doing, mate? That's a new name in the chat. Evening, wild beer brewed in Ashford at Curious Brewery. Right. Thank you for that, Paul, because as far as I knew when all the sale went through, it was intellectual property, but it's quite interesting to know that it's actually brewed at the brewery in Ashford, which was like 10 minutes from where I used to live. Nabil says, First and Trunk is Hofbrauhaus's Tronstein Fest beer. Oh, hello. 5.7% and fantastic. Been heavily pushed in local off licenses for the past month, but no Paulana, Löwenbräu or Hackersford to be found. Where do you live, Nabil? Because it doesn't sound like you're in the UK. No, where do you live?
No.
David says, bye all. Good to see you, David. Thank you, mate.
Just go back to his comment. There's key points in here that you need to learn from. What he says, blah, 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 5.7, fantastic. Heavily pushed in local off licenses.
Bottle shops.
Nabil,
Bottle shops.
You're a man that I love. It's not a bottle shop, is it? Off license. Fair play, Nabil.
I never knew about this.
Stupid word, bottle shop, has he? He said off license because that's what they are. They're off license.
I never knew this was a thing until we went to the Great Escape.
You're the man.
Chris, you can't. Chris has got a. Chris, you've got a bit of a thing here, haven't you?
Oh yes. There's no such thing as bottle shop. It's an off license. Anyone that sells beer in the UK is an off license. They have to have a license to sell beer, to be consumed off the licensed premises. It's an off license. It's not a bottle shop. Nabil, you're a legend. You said it. Off license. You're right there. Thank you very much.
Nabil. Nabil, you know what you've done, mate.
Nabil, you are a legend, mate. Love that. A
right,
man
just crack
that understands.
Just crack the Adnams and Verdant. Just crack the Adnams and Verdant.
Bottle shop snobs.
Loves it. Absolutely loves it. Dave Wilson says, bye all. On a Kvike Pale, Jimmy says, Kvike Pale called Natural Bjorn Killers. That's good.
No, that's
Arbor. Pint cans, you can't help but love them. Arbor are good. They're just nothing.
Amazing.
They're nothing less than just a good, honest brewer producing amazing beer. Good prices as well. The Arbor beers. That I will say that. Mental money, really, considering you actually get bigger cans. John Saxon says Trembling Manors is a great place to go in York. Was there yesterday? Oh, yes. What a place. John Saxon, you are absolutely correct. I think that's the first time I've seen you in the chat as well. So thank you for coming in. David Durrell, you said you missed off a message about Fuller's Vintage Ale in 72. Oh, sorry, mate. You missed off a message about Fuller's Vintage Ale in 72 quid for 12 bottles, 6 quid a bottle with free shipping. What is Vintage Ale in Waitrose? It's about 6 quid, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not far off that.
Yeah. So you're probably not a million miles off, David, if by the time it gets delivered to your door for free. Chris has got that really disappointing Northern Monk Stout hours.
I haven't. I am opening. I was going to review this beer, but I've kind of given up on reviewing it. 500ml can. I do like Don Zoco.
Oh, they're good. Oh, I bet that's really good. I bet that's really good.
5.6. Yeah, I was going to review it, but I thought everyone's done so many fest beers and Oktoberfest beers. I just put it on the shelf for just general drinking. But as we're live, why not? Why not open it? Get it done.
Right. Sorry, David Durrell. But I think £6 delivered to your door per bottle. I think that's all right. I don't think that's too bad. Klaus Heitman says, as demanded, not demanded. It makes you sound like a bit of an idiot, Klaus. I'm not gonna lie. As demanded, I posted an Instagram story, pouring my brown and mentioned the craft beer hub. Right, I've got it. So, Klaus, what beer is this? And I'll come back to this. But he's mentioned me. Is it playing? Oh, that's the story. Sorry, that is it. That looks good for homebrew.
That's a homebrew. Mm.
Brown ale, pretty dark, New England Vice. Oh, it's the New England Vice. Wow. What a beer. Flipping egg. Yeah,
Nice.
That looks incredible. Thank you for sending that in, mate. David Durrell says supermarkets are good for buying traditional beer in bottles on 4 for free offers. Specialist beer is not good. Nailed it.
Yeah.
And he says Ossett and Salt are owned by the same people. Yes, they are. I did know that when I went into the Salt Beer Factory. But yeah, it was fantastic to have that beer. And Nabil says Dublin. Oh, did I ask where you were from? I swear you said Dublin. What was the... Oh, no. You know what? I bloody did, didn't I? You said Dublin earlier. Then I've asked where you're from because you've just shouted those German words at me, and then you've repeated Dublin. But thanks for coming in, Nabil. And I'm due in your city in November. Never been. Quite interested. Nabil says, "Hey, it is always and will be an off license." Don't
Top man,
say
Nabil.
things like that.
Man, we are all in Nabil.
Don't say
Love Nabil.
things like
Nabil's a legend. See, Nabil knows. Nabil's not a snob.
Oh, Nabil.
Yes, Nabil.
Oh,
Yes.
honestly,
Thank you very
you've
much.
made a bald man happy in Hertfordshire. I can tell you that.
I'm not in Hertfordshire. Get that right as well.
Bedfordshire.
Bedfordshire. Thank
Bedfordshire. There you go. Sorry, mate. The wrong. It's the wrongfordshire. David Durrell says bottle shops are what off licenses are called in Australia because
Exactly.
Australians have got
Yeah.
everything correct.
In Australia, you're right. They are called bottle shops in Australia. And that I've never disputed. But in the UK, off licenses. But Mark likes to be a snob.
I can't lie. No thoughts about that one. Boris Murph, mate, all these new people in Hello Boris Murph will be £7 in Waitrose. Yeah, I can imagine actually with the price increase and stuff, I would see that at £7. But it's a lovely beer. It's a really good beer. I had the 20. I got given a bottle of 2021, a bottle of 2022, and I got given another bottle of 2022. I've just remembered that I had this at Christmas with my dad. I had half a bottle, so I never really got like the proper like immersive experience of a full bottle. But probably the most luxe rich beer, high quality that you can guarantee on for £7. I think. Fair to say that, Chris?
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yeah, it's just really, really good. Jimmy says, Mark, are you still in the midst of your Vice beer obsession? No, that kind of went a couple of months ago, I think. I'll tell you when it went. It was when I come back from it's in the video as well. And I did it live because it was just like a nightmare. I come back from Beers of Europe and my car blew up. The engine went pop. Absolutely nightmare. It cost me about £4,000 by the time we scrapped the car. Annoying, like really annoying. But I came back home and I was really annoyed. I didn't want to drink a Vice. It sounds like I made it up, but I swear it's not. I came back home with the who was it? It was RAC. Got back home with RAC. I got back in after unloading the car and just being like, oh my god, how much money is this going to cost me? Looked in the box of beers and all I'd bought was Weiss beers or Dunkelweisses or Doppelbocks, and it was like rich beers. Do you know what I mean? And all I wanted was a lager. And it just annoyed me. It annoyed me that I've been to Beers of Europe and not bought any lager. I literally bought Weiss beers.
You see,
Annoying.
that's an interesting point because there are beers for occasions, aren't there?
Oh, gotcha.
There are absolutely beers for occasions. Where there's some days where I've had a bit of a pants day at work and I come home.
Yep.
And I think I've had a bit of a pants day, but it's not the worst day I've ever had. So I would go for a certain type of ABV beer based on the day that I've had. If I've had an absolutely horrendously shocking day, I will come home, I will cook dinner, because I do a lot of the cooking in the house, and that's cool. I'm happy with that. And once we've had dinner, in my mind, and I've had a great time with the family at the dinner table, that's been a nice time, but in my mind, I've still had a shocking day. So I will come out to my pub shed for that hour of sanctuary, and I will look for something of about the 7% ABV. If I've had a great day at work, I'll come home, I'll do dinner, and I will come into the pub shed and have something at 4.5% ABV. There are beers for the moment, aren't there? There's beers for the emotion. There's beers for the occasion, and I love that. And that's what I love about beer. There's something for every occasion in your life.
I couldn't agree more. Like the last thing when all that kicked off, I was like, the last thing I want to do is sit down and think how good this beer is. Like I want the beer to tell me how good it is, but being a lager, I don't want to have to sit there and go, oh, okay, what's it doing now? What's it doing now? So I just want to, and that was the point. It sounds dramatic, but that was the point where I was like, right, lagers are the way forward now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Chris. Beers and occasions is absolutely a thing. Don't overlook it, guys. If you're, don't overlook it. Nabil says the only real Oktoberfest I found, only real Oktoberfest beers I found in Dublin are Hofbrau, Pour this year. I've heard a bit of that, I have to say. And Augustine are also not the best. I agree with that. Had to drive north for the rest. Little Island don't do UK offers, no Audi at all.
Wow.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Have heard a lot of that about the Hofbrau, I have to say. Nabil says in the north, I should add Aldi and Ireland are only doing Bitburger. Still, Bitburger's nice. It's kind of like it's like a nice sort of homely thing to go back to a decent German lager, but in the grand scheme, it's like you could forget it quite easily, I think.
Yeah.
Jimmy Rushworth says, I definitely have sharing beers. Anything over 11%. I won't really drink unless I can split with someone or have a catch up. Mate. And we've done this a few times, haven't we, Jim? We've done this a few times. I agree with you. I think the only barley wine I can remember buying and drinking was with two friends. Because it was about 19%. What about you, Chris?
I love a barley wine. There are certainly a lot of beers that are for sharing, absolutely. But a really good quality barley wine, that's me, sat on my own with no one else around in a little happy place drinking a barley wine. I love that. It's been a while since I've had one, but no, I can easily sit on my own, probably up here in the pub shed, with absolute nonsense playing on YouTube, drinking a good 11% barley wine. I'm well happy.
It's true. There was one, the barley wine I'm speaking of was by Merzlertal, and it was called like Car Brulee or something. It was like a creme brulee barley wine, and it was just like, I had an absolute skinful down the pub. The local pub hadn't been open long, and it's more like a craft beer tap room, really, more than Jimmy knows. It's called the Cap. I was skinful down my local, and I was like, I cracked open that barley wine. It was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Oh, if you've had a few beers and then you're opening a barley wine, that's a messy end to the night. That's a very messy end. Where if I know I'm going to drink a barley wine, I won't have much before that, especially if I'm at home.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
I will use that barley wine as my moment. So if I know I've got a good 11+% barley wine that I know I'm going to drink, I won't touch anything else. I will wait. I will wait until everyone's chilled, everyone's settled, no one's going to bother me, and I know I can come and sit up here in my pub shed and open that barley wine and watch trash on YouTube and just drink that barley wine. Oh, that's heaven. That's heaven. But I will rarely do a barley wine if I've had a fair few beers before, because barley wines have got so much flavour.
Yeah.
And I want to enjoy that flavour. So I won't drink a barley wine after I've had 4 or 5.
See, that's another thing. The amount of times I've bought good beer, like a nice double IPA, or it's generally something more than the sort of decadent end of the craft beer spectrum. So you're talking doubles, triple IPAs, stouts, barley wines. It could be, something aged.
Yeah.
And the amount of times I'll get home, and it's not happened so much recently, but the amount of times I got home, it was like that night with the barley wine. I can't really remember it. I remember it being really good, but I don't really remember like the intricacies of all the flavors and everything.
Yeah.
The amount of times I get home and be like, oh, I'm having this now. And then just because I think I can stomach and pick up the flavors. Do you know what I mean? It's like then you go down the morning and you see that can that you've bought for like a tenner sitting there empty, and you're like, no, why did I do that? Why don't I just get out like a Francis Carno and just drink that?
Yeah, exactly. I've done it. I've been there, and I won't do it anymore. Now I've got that type of beer, but I'm not touching it. And there's so many times that I've done lives with you guys, with all of us who've been on lives. The amount of times I've opened beers that I've never, ever wanted to open.
No, I know.
I've had a few. Now, I lock them away. I'm like, I ain't doing it. I'm not going to touch that beer.
Oh.
I'm not going to do it until I'm ready to do it, because I've done it. I've spanked so many good beers on lives that I have no intentions of ever doing.
I say I won't do it again, but I know I will. That's the
course
problem.
I
know it's around the corner. That's the problem. Jimmy says, Chris, where in Bedfordshire are you? What's your local brewery?
I am based in Dunstable in Bedfordshire. The local brewery to me, if you go really local, is Leighton Buzzard Brewery. But they're very small, but I don't like their beers. And that's sad, because they are very local to me. But Leighton Buzzard Brewery, not a big fan. Not a big fan of the beers. So I will cross the border into Hertfordshire, because I am bang on the border. And I go to Tring. Tring is such a great brewery. Yeah, so no, that's not true either. My most they're Mad Squirrel.
He's lying.
No, I love Mad Squirrel. Mad Squirrel are also Hertfordshire. That's the problem. I'm bang on the border, right up in that corner of Bedfordshire, where there's a couple of really good Hertfordshire breweries. So I just go across border to Mad Squirrel, Tring Brewery, probably my two most local. But right on my doorstep is Leighton Buzzard Brewery, but I just don't like their beers, unfortunately.
Are they sort of traditional or craft, Chris?
They're a bit kind of crafty, Leighton Buzzard Brewery, but they're just not very good, unfortunately. And I've tried them, and I keep going back to them, and I keep trying them, and that's why they've never been on my channel, because I think that they are such a small brewery. I'd never want to put their brewery on my channel and say they're just not very good, because they're just so small. And I know my channel is so small, but I wouldn't want to do anything to damage what they're trying to do. So
I hear you, mate.
I won't review them. But Mad Squirrel, cross over into Hearts, which is literally like right next to me. Mad Squirrel, I've got a lot of time for them. They do produce some shite, but their core beer range is outstanding. And Tring Brewery are just fantastic. Absolutely, they're trad. Mad Tring Brewery, a trad brewery. and they're fantastic. So, yeah, I've got lots. There's lots around me, but I've generally got cross into hearts.
There we go. I'm going to skip forward because it matters in this conversation. Jimmy says, not a million miles then. I'm Essex Hearts border near Hoddesdon. Was trying to figure out if you were close to Barron, but you're a bit west of them.
Yeah, overall, not far from Barron. Paul's Beer Reviews, he's a massive fan of Barron.
He loves them, doesn't he? Loves them.
It wouldn't take me long to get to Barron. I know where Hoddesdon is. It's not a million miles away.
There we go. David Durrell says, 11% beer, it's only going one way, and that's my way. David Durrell has got the same sentiment as myself and probably Chris as well.
Yeah.
Jimmy says, yeah, really big barley wines or barrel aged stouts often find too sweet.
Yeah.
Yes. I've got a 12% overtone stout in the fridge, but I'll leave that until I have a mate over. I think that's it. I think you probably hit the nail on the head there, Jimmy. They are too sweet, generally. As a sweeping comment, these sort of 10% plus stouts are too sweet. But if you've got a mate over and drinking half a can each, it sort of lessens the load a little bit, because by the time you get halfway through that can, you're a bit like, I don't know about you, but I'm certainly like, blooming heck, when can this finish?
I agree. And if you're sharing a can, if it's a 440 can and you're sharing it, it then becomes a talking point, doesn't it? Especially if you're sitting there drinking it with someone that likes decent beers, then you can, by the time you've spent half an hour talking about it, of sharing a 440ml can, you've drunk it, and it doesn't feel like you've had a lot, does it? Because you spent half hour, 40 minutes chatting about it.
No.
And you've only had 220 mils of it. So, yeah, for me, anything over 10%, they're definitely good sharing beers, easily.
Absolutely. Right then, guys. Sorry to this is 24 of you watching, but we're 3 hours in. It's 8 o'clock. I've got to be in Birmingham tomorrow at midday. So
Wow.
We're going to go. Chris, thank you so much for coming in, mate. If you've not seen Chris's beer reviews, go and have a look. Good, honest beer reviews, no fluff. Good lad. And the food videos might be on the way.
They probably will come. They probably will come. And likewise, I know we're on Mark's channel, but this man, that finger, is a bloody legend. Keep following him. Keep supporting him. He's the top guy. Thank you, everyone.
Cheers, guys. Thank you, Chris. Everybody, Jimmy says reply on WhatsApp. I will. Sorry, mate. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you've seen, please like and subscribe if you'd be so kind. And we will see you on the next one. Cheers.